Mimi nataka ieleweke Kenya ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya kupitia demokrasia walienda kwa kura, wakapiga kura na wakatupatia kazi. Sisi tukapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha serikali. Wale ndugu zetu wengine wakapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha upinzani. Na hiyo kazi yote ni ili mwananchi wa Kenya aweze kupata huduma, aweze kushughulikiwa na mambo yake, na nitangaze ya kwamba hakuna mwananchi wa upinzani. Wananchi wote ni wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
This is Kericho Assembly Speaker Patrick Mutai has been ordered to appear before the disciplinary committee of the UDA party following the leadership tension that continues to be witnessed in the assembly. In a letter, the chairman of the disciplinary committee, Charles Njenga, has instructed Mutai to appear before the committee on Friday this week. President William Ruto is also the UDA party leader, criticized the Kericho County MCAs as well as the leadership of the assembly for propagating differences in the assembly instead of delivering to the electorates. And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has vowed to come to the aid of the ailing Mukami Kimathi, wife to the celebrated Kenyan freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi. The country's second-in-command noted that it was only recently brought to his attention that Ms. Kimathi, 101 years old, was admitted to a Nairobi hospital for medical attention. DP Gachagua therefore directed Embakasi Central MP Benjamin Gatheru to urgently assess the situation as he plans to later visit Ms. Kimathi upon his return to Nairobi from Nyanza region tour. And days after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission ranked Nakuru County as the top of the list for bribery demands, the county is again on the spotlight, this time over the alleged illegal extension of the tenure of a county official. The anti-graft body is investigating the alleged irregular extension of the term of office of Zipporah Sintoya Gad, whose non-renewable 6-year term expired in August 2019 following her assumption of office in August 2013 as the secretary to the County Public Service Board. EACC says Gard's term is indicated in her appointment letter dated 8th of August 2013, signed by interim County Secretary Stella Langat on the same date. Gard's contract was irregularly extended by 3 months from August 8th, 2019 to November 2019 by then County Secretary Elizabeth Loichoki. And the Teacher Service Commission will employ all teachers who served as interns in 2022 on a permanent and pensionable basis. A member from the Commission's acting director of staffing, Joseph Mugele, said the cohort will be absorbed in the ongoing teacher recruitment as the government seeks to recruit 35,550 teachers this month to address the teacher-student ratio gap. As such, Mugele requested the Human Resources Director not to remove the interns from the payroll. The recruitment of the 35,550 teachers is the first phase of absorbing a planned 116,000 teachers, President William Ruto said in October after TSC CEO Nasim Asharia revealed the commission was short of 114,581 teachers. Last month, TSC noted that 10,000 of these will be employed on permanent pensionable terms, while the other 25,550 will be on internship. And President William Ruto has appointed 2 selection panels to pick nominees for appointment to the National Gender and Equality Commission and the National Police Service Commission. This amid the ongoing recruitment of suitable candidates to replace Priscilla Nyokabi and Naftali Rono in their respective commissions. Through a Gazette notice dated January 13th, President Ruto appointed an 8-member selection panel to oversee the appointment of the NGEC Commissioner. And a bomb killed at least 10 people and wounded 39 others after ripping through a church in eastern DR Congo in an attack blamed on suspected Islamists. Details of the attack are his, but Congolese military spokesperson Anthony Malushai said the terrorist act happened in a Pentecostal church in North Kivu Province, Kasinde, a town on the border with Uganda. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Baridi ni degree ngapi ya?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
Is the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys wenye walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Baridi ni degree ngapi ya?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
Is the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys wenye walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. It looks like it's already going to be crazy from all that we see so far. Traffic is building up on Jogo Road. It's also building up here and there on the Thika Superhighway. Folks are using the service lanes already, which you can use as well. It shouldn't be too crazy from here on out, however. We're looking at a little bit of traffic that's then coming in on Mombasa Road just over that drift. And that's how Monday morning is starting out. Let's keep an eye on things. What's going on where you are? Let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
.9 Spice FM, Mombasa. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's the 16th day of 2023. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. How was your weekend, CT?
My weekend was very good. Eric? Yes.
Did you do the things that you normally do?
You are a man who understands many things, yes.
Very good.
I did nothing.
Very good. Very
nothing
good.
Means I did as little as possible. Yes.
And what was the little that you did?
Stayed put.
Okay.
And read.
What are you reading this time?
I was just reading the papers, oddly enough. No book, nothing, just going through the papers.
Yeah. Like a study.
Yes.
You were studying the papers.
Well, I was now not in a hurry, so, read, looked at the East African. My friend.
This world.
Things are not okay. No. Things are not okay. It can be depressing. Yes.
It is indeed. You know, there are people who say you talk to somebody, a friend of yours, and then the next thing you see their social media update. People are suffering out there. What?
They're using you.
Zile shida watu wako nazo huko nje. We?
Ni nyingi. Ni nyingi sana.
Inakuwa shida. How you doing, do?
Fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Mambo iko aje?
Mambo iko freshy.
Iko juju. Iko top.
Tunajaribu.
Sanyo iko juu na sanyo iko top.
What are those?
With the radio called Sanyo.
Oh, Sanyo, like the electronic brand.
Yes.
Top of the pops.
Yes. And then there used to be a show that ran for the longest time on Sundays called Kuwa Juu, Kuwa Tops na Sanyo, hosted by Fred Obachi Machoka. Yes.
And this was in the previous century.
Uko kitambo.
Fred Machoka.
Fred Obachi Machoka.
That man.
The blackest man in Black Africa.
Yes. No, he's a wonder.
Yes. Totally. And he's still doing it.
Still doing the business.
With as much energy as he had then. When I was a single digit years old.
Digit years old.
Never.
Yes.
Yes, never say never.
Never say never. He's still doing it. Man inspired me to be where I am today, broadcasting, and he's still doing it.
And Eric is also still doing it.
Imagine.
Now imagine the people you, my friend Eric, are inspiring.
Now?
Yes.
Those ones who are now single digit years old.
Oh, wow. How about perspective?
It's doable. Okay. Yes. Well, had a good weekend as well. Thank you very much for asking.
I was about to ask, but you were on this.
I know you were going there, so I'm just preempting.
Oh, sorry. So how was it?
It was good.
Okay.
It was good. It was chilled out. I did some walking in Karura.
Oh, well done. You did the thing. Did you wear bashori?
No, it's not that cold in Karura. If you go to the Muru.
Actually, man, that place gets cold.
Beautifully so, man. Woo! I love it.
Yeah, not so
You're beautifully yako.
it's just
go
cold.
to uplands. Yeah? You don't even see your nose.
You know, if we are going to be discussing cold places,
you're having a conversation with somebody you can't see. Oh man! But you're just huddled somewhere and you're talking to somebody, and you're hearing them.
Oh man! So stop.
Then, well, if that isn't cold enough, go to Timborough.
Bas.
Where?
Tambarua. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. We have guests throughout the show from 7 a.m., 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. So, who comes at 7? Hiyo kitu niko nayo hapa nikuambie 7 a.m. Let's talk about, we are in the budget making process. In a couple of weeks' time, the National Treasury will be sending the budget policy statement to Parliament, blah, 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 blah. They were actually having budget hearings at KICC last week with the ministries. The issue will be how much the government wants to spend in the next financial year. It's definitely more than what the government is spending in the current financial year.
Yes.
Where will the money come from? Taxation. Okay?
Largely.
Taxation is approved by a committee of Parliament called the Committee on Finance and National Planning. The chair of that committee is the MP for Molo. His name is Francis Kuria Kimani. He will be joining us at 7 a.m. How Parliament should balance taxes versus funding a higher budget in the next financial year. That is what we want to hear from him. This is at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, we have a conversation about the recent happenings over the weekend. The president was in the Nyanza region over the weekend. Will his charm offensive pay off? He's actually charming the Nyanza region. Martin Andati, political analyst, and Daniel Juma, who's a governance expert and CEO of Global Peace Foundation. They both of them will be joining us at 8 o'clock to have that conversation. And then at 9, Let's hear from actually the leaders who are welcoming the president in Nyanza with open arms. One of them is the nominated MP John Badi, who's also the chair of the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee. Why Nyanza MPs warmed up to Ruto's visit, not just MPs but governors as well and senators, all the leaders of the region. Why they did that. So that's a conversation to look out for at 9 a.m. What's happening with COVID?
3 cases in Kenya over the last 24 hours and 2 in Nairobi, 1 in Siaya County. Still looking at low numbers. Ministry of Health is still coming out and saying, go and get, have you been double vaccinated? When's the last time you got a COVID shot?
Last year.
The last time when we went to get the shot.
Okay, so you got your 2 shots?
Yes. Okay. Did I get a booster?
Did you get a booster? No. Have you gotten a booster shot?
Not yet.
Not yet. You plan to do it?
I'm thinking about it, to be very honest.
Honestly speaking.
You're considering
Honestly
the many
speaking.
factors that have been
like,
jumping about. No, do I need to?
Okay.
If conspiracy is rife, should I really try this again?
And yourself?
Did they inject me with water? I must say that I'm there as well. Questions in terms of the booster shots, in terms of the whole vaccination program in the first place.
Yes.
Many questions popping up here and there. However, it continues to be that the Ministry of Health says come out and get your shot. There's interesting stuff happening in the US. The US FDA and CDC see an early signal of possible Pfizer bivalent COVID shot link. Okay, let's just look at that properly. A safety monitoring system has flagged that the US drug maker Pfizer and the German partner BioNTech's updated COVID-19 shot could be linked to a type of brain stroke in older adults. These are some of the questions that now start popping up amongst the minds of people.
Please say that again.
When you're asking them to go and get a COVID-19 shot.
Please say that again.
I will do that. The FDA and CDC's a safety monitoring system that they've put together in terms of a committee have flagged that the US drug maker Pfizer and the German partner BioNTech's updated COVID-19 shot could be linked to a type of brain stroke in older adults, according to preliminary data analyzed by the U.S. health authorities. The U.S. Centers for the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, said Friday that a CDC vaccine database had uncovered a possible safety issue in which people 65 and older are likely to have an ischemic stroke 21 days after receiving the Pfizer-BioNTech shot, compared with days 22 to 44. An ischemic stroke, also known as brain ischemia, is caused by blockages in arteries that carry blood to the brain. The FDA and CDC say that other larger studies, the CDC's Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, other countries' databases, and the Pfizer-BioNTech's databases had not flagged this safety issue, requiring further investigation. So they're saying, although the totality of the data currently suggests that it is very unlikely that the signal represents a true risk, they believe it is important to share the information to the public. This is interesting as well because it's coming off the back of a week before when the World Health Organization, other countries then giving China the boot in terms of not being honest about what's going on with their COVID numbers. Okay, so they're saying, look, before it becomes a thing, let us tell the story. Isn't that one of the things that they tell us? Tell your own story before somebody else gets an opportunity to. They're also coming out and saying that folks are not taking COVID seriously in the US, and they're saying, you guys, it's possible that we could see another surge. Do the thing that you need to do before the thing does you. That's what COVID looks like this morning.
Thank you very much. It's 20 after 6. We're live streaming. You know what you need to do. We are going to be sampling some of the comments. Where are you locked in this morning from? Let us know, and we will be reading your comments shortly.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459 *5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
This morning, looking at cloudy conditions in Nairobi, we'll see highs of 26 and lows of 14. It's 12 degrees and cloudy in Nakuru, highs of 28 and lows of 12. And we'll see highs of 26 and cloudy Nyeri at 12. It's 11 and cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 24. And we'll see highs of 32 in Mombasa, where it's cloudy at 26. 27 and cloudy in Malindi, highs of 32. And looking into Kisumu, cloudy conditions at 19, highs of 28 and lows of 19. We'll see highs of 30 in Kakamega, where it's cloudy at 17. And it's 19 and cloudy looking out into Kampala, going to highs of 29. 31 will be the high in Dar es Salaam, where it's cloudy at 27. And it's 16 and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 29 and lows of 15. Clear conditions at 26 in Lagos, with highs of 34 and lows of 24. And it's 24 and mostly cloudy in Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 22. Let's look out into Beijing Monday afternoon. It's -2 and sunny. We'll see highs of 0 and lows of -9. It's a rainy, chilly morning in Paris at 6. Highs of 7 and lows of 2. And the rain is coming down in London as well at 5 degrees. We'll see highs of just that and lows of -3. Sunday night in New York reads mostly clear. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 6 and lows of -1.
Spice FM, Nakuru. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
People are online.
Indeed, they are. Jose Mushiri says, good morning, guys. Good to have you in. Mombasa Kisauni is where Haji is tuned in from. Absolutely amazing, Maureen Jerry says. And she's referring to the picture of CT in his hat and shirt, of course.
Oh, that's the one, eh?
That's the one.
Hey, but yes, it is. So you give us the process.
Tell us how the
what
day
happened?
went on Friday after you were dressed suchly.
I actually went for a meeting, which lasted, I think, until 2, when I lost track of time, around 2. And then I went home.
That's what they're called now, meeting. Okay, so how was the meeting? Was it good? Was it
Meetings by their
Was
nature
it-
are
was it,
neither good nor bad.
Was it productive?
Yes, it was productive. When you have a meeting where people air their views and speak from their heart, it is a good meeting.
Okay.
Yes,
It's also.
it's a good meeting. At least you know where people stand, or at least you understand the position they have taken, and that, in my mind, is a good thing.
Indeed, it is. Nisawa.
It may sound cantankerous, it may sound as though people are differing, but all they're doing is voicing certain opinions energetically.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is the public version. What's our version of
Sasa
the
yetu
truth?
sasa
Sasa
sasa.
A
yes.
version.
What?
Hey, wah, la, 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 la. Wah.
Okay, so. And you are here to tell the story. So,
Yes. Survived.
I'm
Very
telling you.
good.
Very good. Do like that again. Amimo says, Happy Virgin Week with fresh minds. Asante Sana. Bewa Macha says, good morning. Tuning from Machakos. Count me alongside Honorable Kisiangani Wambua. Okay, MCA. Machewa Ward. I'm telling you. Excuse me.
Okay.
Wawero Ngeve says, good morning, tuning from Loreshan. Looking forward to conversations. Yes. Simon Wapala says he's locked in and good morning to you. Okay. Zachary Gikonyo, hope your weekend was good. One can hope. Now, the signature song to the Sanyo program made me appreciate the creative minds of... creative genius of the American artists. Their music was used to advertise a product made by the Japanese, despite the almost recent memories of World War II then. I am also a legend.
Zachary.
Yeah. All right. Odara Jr. is tuned in from the Great Wall. Mageto Jaja says, good morning, lady and gentlemen. tuned in. Good to have you. It says Kisumu is prepping for County Sports Day from today. Okay. Mope says good morning, tuning from Nyeri, and good morning, tuning from Kitengela. That's where Diane Boro is. Jane Duta says good morning, people. Always a pleasure indeed. Thank you for joining us. The young Sembocha says good morning, listening in from the land of the Stone Town, Zanzibar in Tanzania. And Henry Lisuta said good morning. It's a beautiful Monday. It is indeed. Give thanks for that. Good morning, tuning from Kibera. Peter Wagongo says he's tuning. Good morning, Ndu, Eric and CT. Happy to see you this morning. Tuned paka mwisho. Karibu sana. Thanks for riding with us this morning. Karibuni, everybody.
Everybody, welcome. I'm in a group of football fans.
Oh, sorry.
Specifically,
Wait, hold on.
Arsenal fans.
Well done. Yes. You know, take your things.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So Uncle Michael is one of those people in that group, and he says, "Good morning, guys." To you and City. Good morning.
Thank you very much,
Uncle
Uncle Mike.
And of course, he'd like me to remind you that London is red.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, what happened?
London is red. Arsenal
Okay,
won
what
yesterday.
happened?
Arsenal won 2-0 yesterday.
Beat whom?
Tottenham.
Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
Those ones.
Yes.
See, my memory is not that bad. They are not that hot that yesterday.
Hot where?
Arsenal.
Yeah, you get it now. The penny has dropped, has it not?
Hasn't it just?
Yeah. This man is not just talking for nothing.
Top of the table kind of thing and all, you know. Those
just saying.
Just saying.
Just
Just
saying.
in case it may have slipped your mind.
It's just a mention here and there, you know. Yeah. So, City,
Yes.
we were in Lesotho last week.
Yes, we were.
Where do we go to this
We've
week?
moved further down south.
Down south from Lesotho.
Yes, we've moved literally next, just slightly higher up near the Tanzanian border to a country called Mozambique.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, south.
Or north or west or east of Lesotho.
What you need to
South
understand, when I've given you these compass directions, just wait for the name of the country.
Then you can figure it out.
Figure out where it lies, whether it is south, north, east, or west. Okay?
Yes.
Right. So I started with south.
Very good.
That was Lesotho.
Very good.
Now, while we're in the south, we move slightly higher.
South.
Okay.
It's more
Northern.
northeastern, really.
Okay.
Yes, but we're on the border of Tanzania. There's a country called Mozambique, whose capital is Maputo.
Okay.
No difficulty in pronouncing it. It's just Maputo. Okay? Sawa sawa. Hey, former Portuguese colony.
Okay.
Independence, 1975. So Kenyans, when you consider that you got independence in 1963, it was 3, isn't it? When you got independence.
Yes.
62 was self-governance and all that stuff.
63 was that one.
63 was
Internal self-rule.
internal self-rule.
64 republic. Those things.
Wait.
Oh, wow.
So what
Let's
happened in
just go
60? No, so what happened in 1962?
Who were fighting?
We're still fighting.
We were waiting for Nani to be released.
64 is when we got independence.
63.
All right. I think we live in the same country. That is what is important.
Internal self-rule.
Actually, no, that's not independence. That is Madaraka. Jamhuri is when we...
We became a republic, but we became...
You're right, Eric. Once you get internal self-rule, you are
Pata
independent.
Madaraka.
Yes. We're given the
Power to have say.
to rule ourselves and to determine and etc., etc., etc. And to allow the interferences while we're doing it. Okay. Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Yeah?
Slander. Bad mouthing.
Matusi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which includes Mushene.
Yeah.
By the stream will be heard by the frogs.
So the frogs are busybodies.
Not really. The frogs live there.
Proximity.
You've gone to have this chat
In their neighborhood.
So
they're going to hear it.
They're your
anyway.
audience. Yeah, so they will listen.
So by the stream here means next to a stream or the stream making the slander?
The stream, I think, does its thing.
So slander by the stream, is it slander? Is it the stream making the slander, or
No.
is it?
It is you making the slander next to
the
a stream. Yes.
Okay.
The stream was doing its thing, and you decided that while you were at the stream,
You were going to slander.
you
but
know,
all the
you-
inhabitants of the stream,
Yeah,
the
you need
neighbors of the stream remain intact.
Yes, the thinking is that you are alone, and
The
we are
thinking of you.
Yeah, and you're being told you're not alone. You and your co-conspirator may think that it's just the two of you chit-chatting and tearing some individuals to pieces, but frogs are also listening.
They're there.
Yes. You know this thing of walls having ears?
That's it.
Well, so do frogs.
Streams. Streams have frogs.
Yes. And frogs have ears.
And frogs have ears.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's quickly look at the front pages of the papers,
All
shall
right.
we?
Let me just give you a snapshot of what that looks like. On the front page of the Standard Junior Secondary, The Great Divide, there seems to be a few hiccups here and there. Head teachers are rushing. I beg your pardon.
Start again.
Head teachers are rushing to prepare facilities for the start of the new term, but a visit to school shows public primary schools have no laboratories for a new curriculum, and others reporting inadequate number of teachers, while private schools are all set.
Okay.
Kenyans abroad send home 500 billion shillings. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Put everything together, everything else together. Flowers, horticulture, tourism, combined.
Even gold.
It's not even half of this. Wow.
Yeah, big numbers there. There's a story there. We'll look at it. It's also telling us about Gachagwa's gaffes put the kingpin quest in jeopardy. All right. We'll look at that later. On the front page of The Nation, the murder plot. Unfortunately, another story like this. There's a bizarre tale of when Lucy Njeri Mohammed landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi last November. She did not know that two men, ostensibly assigned by her husband to meet and drive her home, were in fact members of a killer squad that had been paid 1.5 million shillings to eliminate her, until one of them jumped into the back seat and started strangling her.
What?
We'll look into that story later, indeed. From school fees to taxes, you'll have to dig deeper into your pocket. And the president has said he will save us from food cartels soon. Oh, and also, today's the day that we will know about Form 1 placement. The results will be released today, according to CS Machogu.
It's today.
It's today.
Wow. Let me tell you what's in the Business Daily. Costly bank charges and fees triple home loan repayment. Have you heard that? Lenders are loading an extra 20% before levying interest. Appraisals, insurance, and ledger fees hit borrowers. So, bank data shows interest rates for a 9.2 million shilling mortgage is priced at between 11.5% and 18.18%, with customers expected to pay almost 3 times the actual loan at maturity period of 12 years. So you borrow to buy a house at 9.2 million shillings. You repay over 12 years. You'll have paid more than 28 million shillings.
So how many houses will you have bought with interest?
And there is an extra 2 houses. Okay. Other headline, windfall as fixed deposit bank returns hit 30-month high. Fund managers and large institutions are holding bank deposits are set for better returns after the lenders raised payout for customers' deposits in fixed accounts to a 30-month high, matching the trend of investor returns from other asset classes. So it's about 7.1% in October last year, the highest rate of return from fixed deposits since April 2020. If it was fixed deposit, it's earning you 7% now. Another headline, the EAC to set up regional central bank this year. A decision to set up the East African Monetary Institute, which is the central bank of East Africa, will be made this year, a key establishment required in implementing a single currency regime. EAC Secretary General Dr. Peter Mathuki said the Council of Ministers are expected to plan on the location of the EAMI this year. Where? Unaona? We're heading closer and closer towards the East Africa shilling. It's assuming that we're going to force the Sudanese, the Burundians, the Rwandese to accept shilling, not franc. Why Centum terminated CDN Bank sale? Centum wanted to sell the bank CDN Bank, the 83.4% stake in CDN Bank. They wanted to be paid 4.3 billion shillings upfront, letter cash. The guys who wanted to buy it, called Nigeria Access Bank, they could not meet that demand. So that sale collapsed. Banks and Safaricom have defied court on cash transfer fees. Banks and mobile money operators are proceeding to levy fees for transferring cash between their platforms, despite the existence of a temporary High Court order suspending the charges. Watakipata. Hawajui Kenya. City.
Yes, please.
What's on the star?
Well, this is something a bit alarming. Alarming because it's something that we talk about, but we often we underestimate the effects of it.
Okay.
Mistalk about it, misspeak about it. It's called cholera.
Yes.
There is a cholera outbreak.
Yes.
There's an alert that has been announced by the Ministry of Health, and so far 70 people are dead, and that death is being attributed to this outbreak. This was mentioned and brought to our attention by the surveillance, the person who heads the surveillance, the Ministry of Health, Dr. Emmanuel Okunga. He was with us a while back, and we discussed some of these things with him.
Yes.
Now, the major cause, what brings about cholera usually is contaminated water. They are the reasons you're told it's a bacteria, okay, that is normally found and is what causes it. It's called Vibrio cholerae. Now, forget the bacteria. When you have contaminated water, when you eat uncooked foods, whether it's vegetable and it's been washed with contaminated water, and you don't know, because when you look at water, you can't tell whether it's contaminated or not. It's just water. Now, it's on the increase. Now, what is it telling us about the water that we are receiving?
Yeah, there's something about the water.
Yes. And these reports are in 14 counties: Nairobi, Kajiado, Kiambu, Murang'a, Machakos, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Garissa, Meru, Nyeri, Wajir, Tana River, Homa Bay and Kitui. So, it's something that is causing a bit of a problem. And by the way, if not treated, this thing can kill you within hours. Yes, cholera can kill you like this.
So it's not just about that you wash your fruits.
No.
What are you using to wash your fruits?
Yes.
You need to wash your fruits with boiled water.
Yes.
That's a thing now.
It's a thing now. It is.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that is something that we need to think about.
Yeah. This is serious. It's 23 minutes to 7. Let's take this quick break. Take a look at the traffic, okay? You were watching The Last Door yesterday.
I did. I watched it last night.
On Maisha Magic Plus.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The River of Skulls. It's quite something, man.
So you tell us just quite a bit about the River of Skulls. What story was it
Also, I was
about?
looking at, obviously, the number of bodies that have washed up on River Yala. And so John went through that series and talking to two gentlemen who were tasked with, retrieving bodies whenever they would find them on the river. And the grotesque manner in which some of these bodies were found, things that were done to them, that was obvious even after pathologists, the misery that families are going through right now, not knowing if their kin will wash up on the river, or in the waiting when it came to bodies wash up on the river, and people who've been looking for their loved ones all now rush to the morgue to find out if their kin are one of them.
Yeah.
So looking through the story, and unfortunately for those who had been identified, tracing back to see who these people actually were and what they were involved in when they were actually alive. And it was, just opening up that story was really interesting to see. But then also, of course, it was morbid, but it is just the truth of what is going on. And it washes up on the river.
Well done. That's The Last Door on Maisha Magic Plus investigative series by John Allen Namu.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yolanda Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, it's Sugar and Spice. Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship, so it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask a chick, how many guys have you been with? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to SpiceFM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. All right, so what are we looking at now? Some traffic that's starting to build up in different parts of the city. A little bit here and there on the Thika Superhighway as you get out through the Pangani underpass. It's also building up on Jogo Road. We're seeing some traffic also on Gong Road. Looks like it's going to be a busy morning. It's that week before school's open, so we know that there's a rush about for a lot of stuff to be done. All right, where are you this morning? Let us know where you might be stuck. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
So we have 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Which story do you want to tell us about?
Okay, so let me tell you about this story about this lady who's come into the country and then, it was weird. 1.3 million shillings. Miss Muhammad and Mr. Njeru are athletes with dozens of middle and long distance races under their belts in careers spanning over 2 decades for the man and 1 decade for the woman. In the course of their careers, they have amassed property bought with the prize money. They got married traditionally in 2002. At the time, Nyeri was 2 years into her running career with a speciality in middle distance races, both locally and abroad. There forms the basis for this story. My husband wanted me dead, but I talked the hitmen out of it. November 16th last year, Lucy Nyeri, 48, packed 3 suitcases and a small leather bag ready for her routine vacation to Kenya. From Canada, where she has lived for more than a decade, she was to make a stop in Nairobi and then head to Embu, where her husband would later join her for the Christmas festivities. The following day, she bid her husband Nelson Dereba Njeru goodbye at the Toronto airport, where he escorted her to board her flight to Amsterdam, from where she would connect to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. He hugged me as usual as we bid each other goodbye. The couple are athletes. All right. The couple from Embu got married traditionally in 2002. At the time, she had started this specialty in the middle distance running. Her partner was nearly a decade into his running career, majorly marathons, locally and overseas, including Korea, Germany, and China. In 2000, Dereba had won the Beijing Marathon for the second time, bagging $20,000 prize money at the time, according to worldathletics.org. As the relationship blossomed in 2006, Dereba would sign a letter granting consent to Nyeri to act on his behalf in property transactions. In the letter affixed with a copy of his national identity card, he referred to Nyeri as my common law partner, otherwise called wife, since February 2002. When they left Kenya, at some point, they were living separately. Nyeri in Mexico and Dereba in Canada. Nyeri says this was her first time traveling alone for their annual vacation home since the two moved in together in 2010 in Toronto. So she had suggested that since she was traveling alone, her brother picks her up from the airport. But he, Dereba, offered to hire a taxi to pick her from the airport and chauffeur her for 2 days around Nairobi before taking her to their home in Embu.
Okay.
So she said she was looking forward to the trip since she had last been home in 2019. On November 17th, her plane touched down JKIA at 10 p.m. She was cleared by immigration at midnight and then stepped out to look for her taxi driver. Luckily, he was there waving a placard with her name. The car was black and she thinks it was a Toyota van, which was unusual because her husband had informed her that he had hired a Prado. As she entered the car, she realized the driver was with another man whom she assumed to be his colleague. They then drove out of the airport, headed to Embassy Hotel, where she had booked a room for her 2-day stay in the city. Thereafter, she was to be driven to Dallas, Embu, where the couple has a home. However, she says she noticed something unusual when they got to the airport's exit pay point. The driver seemed unaware of what to do. She also noticed another unusual thing. The driver of the car behind them in the pay queue came to the front and helped her driver clear the parking fee. I was pleasantly surprised and asked him if that generosity was the norm. The last time in the country was 2019, and she had seen that a lot had changed just from these 1 or 2 interactions. Out of the main airport entrance, they joined Mombasa Road. She recalls the car was moving at a slow speed. Before long, she says the person who was assumed to be the driver's colleague jumped into the back seat of the car and started strangling her. It was then that they dropped the bombshell. She claims the man told her that they had been paid 1.5 million shillings by her husband to kill her and dump her body in the Karura forest. Now, they offered up this information, okay? How nice. The instructions were so clear that they knew she had copies of her property's documents with them, which they also asked for as instructed. She pleaded with them to spare her life. and they agreed on condition that she pays them now 2 million shillings. We were going to be paid 1.5 million, but now since you've begged us, we'll let you go. You now pay us 2 million. At this point, she says, the man stopped strangling her and played an audio recording of how purportedly the murder was planned. She says the gang replayed an audio recording of a conference call in which they were being given instructions by who?
By the husband.
That's right. They threatened.
So they had a recording of the call.
Yes. They threatened to complete their assignment if I failed to cooperate with them, she recalls. The man picked her leather bag and told her to hand over the 1.1 million shillings in US dollars that she had carried in the bag and 3 phones and copies of the property's documents. She recounts a subsequent WhatsApp telephone conversation in which she overheard the hitmen and the man on the other end discussing how to eliminate her and dump her body. In the audio, the hitmen were heard receiving instructions on how to confirm to the planners once Nyeri had landed and as soon as her body had been dumped. So this conversation went on and she listened to the whole thing. So they kept going on. I mean, this whole conversation goes on and it goes on and on and on. So Nyeri says she was unable to tell where they were after she had blacked out at some point. She fetched 10,000 from her bag, handed it to the gang, and then she begged them to spare her life. It is now 3 a.m. Remember, she landed at 10. Along the way, in a deserted location, the driver stopped the car and stepped out to meet the occupants of yet another vehicle that was trailing them. She claimed she identified the car as belonging to the man that offered to clear the driver's parking. Remember where? At the airport. They mumbled some words in the dark and came back to the vehicle. She begged them not to dump her on the road and kept nudging them to spare her life, promising to top up the amounts they had paid, that she had paid them, which she did the following morning. Nyeri says she was unable to tell where they were, but the hitmen were persuaded not to kill her so long as she paid the extra money. A cash withdrawal slip shows she withdrew 200,000 shillings the next day at Kennel. She convinced them that she would get more money and they drove her to Embu and left. And so now she's telling the story. And at a glance,
she didn't pay the full amount.
So she completed the full amount. Now, so the next day she did another 200,000, which was comes to about $2,000. So in total now she has paid them 1.5 million. She's yet to pay them another 500,000. She had asked to talk to them and asked if they were able to, and they asked her when she was able to get the money. By the time they had exchanged contacts and learned that they were from Embu, she also wanted the clips of the murder plot. So she kept in touch with them, trying to convince them to give her the stuff. She says that she had been asked. She also went to visit her husband's mother to check if she knew something, and he called her in her presence, asking her if she had heard any news about her. But she told him that she was with me. Are you hearing?
So he called the mother.
She went to his mother.
And he called the mother.
He called the mother.
Asking
his mother asked him, "Are you with Nyeri?" He said, "How is Nyeri?" He said, "Very fine. In fact, she's here with me." Are you understanding? He's lying to his mother, saying that Nyeri is with him. Meanwhile, Nyeri is with his mother. Are you getting? It's a whole mess, this one. She survived the murder plot, explaining that she therefore forged a relationship with her would-be killers. She said she befriended them to get more evidence on the murder plot and that she would meet them in various places thereafter. At some point, she traveled to Mombasa to clear some imported goods with the two, as the two men now became what? Her bodyguards. She also met the two suspects in Karatina in the company of her two brothers. They went on and on. On November 28th, she filed a report on the alleged plot to kill her at the DCI.
This is how many days after arrival?
11. All these many things happened in 11 days.
I'm
telling you.
Ish.
Her husband is the one who sponsored part of her stay and the process of acquiring citizenship. The couple, both dual citizens of Kenya and Canada, have no child, and in 2019, Jerry suggested that they divide the property into two so that each family can benefit from the wealth upon their demise. The head of Serious Crimes Unit said, "The probe is on, and we shall be engaging all, including the suspects, before making a conclusion on what transpired. At the moment, the case has too many gaps that need to be filled."
There are many things, yeah.
Yeah. The police are also analyzing Jerry's phone data to establish who she was in contact with before, during, and after the incident. In addition, they want to find out how she could have been booked into a different room at the hotel, at a hotel until morning, and joining her captors for breakfast without raising an alarm the next day.
I mean, someone has told you, we have been hired to kill you. If you ukiongeza pesa kidogo tutakuwa. And you now comfortably sleep. You wake up, you tell them, let's go to
the bank.
Let's go to the bank. I give you money. Let's go to Embu.
Let's even go to Mombasa.
Take me to Mombasa.
Yeah.
Take me back here.
You're probably still in shock.
Those are many days.
Yes, you can be in shock for quite a bit.
But she's not in shock. She's actually strategizing.
Yes,
she's getting money.
She's trying to get
closer
information.
to information from them.
Yes.
She's going to her mother-in-law.
Yes,
she's calling her mother-in-law. She's trying to dig out more information about what happened.
Yes.
In the meantime, you're not fearing that. I mean, the man who hired them is still in communication with them.
You know.
And if these guys are basically going for the highest bidder, they could be counter-bidding on the other side.
That I think is abundantly clear. That these people are not killers, they are business people.
Yeah.
Yes. They figure they can demonstrate. They demonstrated what they were able to do, and then waited now for another offer to be presented. They are demonstrated this is something we can do now, so that we can change tact. I was waiting for a line where they said, "By the way, now that we've averted this, we can do away with that fellow. We just need to."
But the problem is he's in Toronto.
Send us to Canada.
No, he will eventually come to Kenya. But, we can. What I'm saying is this. Stories such as these ones, when I read that this happened to someone, the shock alone that you are at death's door, my friend, can send your mind into a completely different orbit. Now, everything I was hearing is self-preservation now kicking in. How do I ensure that I'm safe? These people clearly are willing to talk. Now, what else are they able to do? So you keep pushing the envelope. You bring in the brothers. Now, that's what tells me these are businessmen. Because why would I, somebody who is about to commit a crime, want to expose
meeting other people?
Yeah.
Why?
These are the questions.
Yeah,
these are the gaps.
And I'm a criminal.
These are the questions that I am finding, City. Not about the shock. Because it's like the killers ceded their leverage immediately at the airport.
Yes.
Even before they go to Embassy Hotel, they had given this woman all the power.
Yes.
You're the killer, you have the power.
They agreed. Are you understanding?
If they were the ones who are controlling the narrative, like, okay, go to Meru, go to Embu, so
they would
we'll
have
come.
insisted on that money that night.
Let's do this. We will be with you. She sounds like she's the one in control.
Yeah. She even says, "Let me go and sleep. In the morning, I will meet you at Keno. I will remove money and then I'll meet you at Keno." I mean, and these supposedly killers, you think of all the things that you've heard in the past about hired killers. Do they give you an opportunity to negotiate?
You see, them, they've been sent, they've been paid. They get the job done. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm looking at the options and I'm starting with the most positive option possible. Okay? Someone is in shock. This is what's happening. Bizarre things happen when you're in shock. You will do bizarre things when you're in shock. When you sit back and think, because adrenaline kicks in, and my friend, as I said, the things you will do, say, don't assume that just because somebody has slept and they wake up the following morning, if indeed they did sleep, that they are in the right state of mind. But then you bring that to a halt and say, okay, let's stop for a moment and ask ourselves, what do we find strange about this story? How do we know? Who else can tell us this story other than this person?
Yeah.
What is it that prevents us from taking the view that this person decided that this was a narrative that they were going to spin? No, I'm merely asking. I'm merely asking.
Yeah.
After all, people have kidnapped themselves previously.
Oh, yes, they have.
Come up with a whole story here.
Up until we're at the airport, we're doing okay. We, with this story, plausible. But then, as Eric put it, when you now take control of the narrative, and these are trained Well, I'm assuming killers.
Supposed killers. Not a BB gun, but a real thing.
Now, that one, so we're saying that we have a brand of killers in this country who are humane.
Yes, now, and all you have
and
to
who
do
you
is
can
say,
talk to.
How much?
Well, we've heard of such killers before. I mean, people who they will try and double cross the person who initially hired them, but they are constantly the ones who are driving this narrative.
Yes.
Where, my friend, I already have money to kill you. If you don't behave by 4 o'clock, I'll finish you. They don't give you time at
sleep, come back, let's meet at Kenol.
And then while we're at it, ukuna kazi ya kufanya. Wacha nikupeleke Mombasa. I mean, seriously speaking.
Again, you see, one doesn't want to, should we say, present this story in a way that you are simply meeting that this whole saga with disbelief. But there are so many things that actually don't add up when you now take the tier 2 discussion and say, okay, now let's look at this thing.
Then you
blow
wait,
by blow.
Boss, you wait 11 days before you now lodge this complaint with the DCI.
Sorry, don't take us 11 days. Huh? In the interim, what stopped you from
other things.
What stopped you from going to the police and reporting this thing
that day? What are you talking about?
So,
yeah,
there are gaps in the story, are there not?
There are.
Shock notwithstanding.
Oh yeah. Higher now. Hey. Kenyans working and living abroad sent home a record 498.8 billion shillings last year. The record remittances indicated how the Kenyan diaspora defied global economic headwinds and helped their families survive a ballooning cost of living. The money sent home was 8.34% higher than the 460 billion sent a year before in 2021, according to CBK. The rise in diaspora remittances defied various projections that the remittances by Kenyans would drop in the face of rising global prices, which have adversely affected migrants' real incomes and piled pressure on the budgets for Kenyans in the diaspora. So, CBK data shows Kenyans working in the US remain the largest contributors to the remittances, sending more than half of all the contributions. That's about $250 billion shillings. The US remains the highest. CBK said the record remittances earned and helped shore up the country's foreign currency, which has come under pressure recently. Hii pesa ni mingi. This is Kenya's biggest foreign exchange earner. It's good now that there is a proper State Department for diaspora, but I think there's a lot more that needs to happen. We are reaching out to the PS for Diaspora Affairs, Roslyn Jogo, to come and join us and tell us what exactly they're doing. In addition to just talking about the plight of Kenyans working in these countries, what else are we doing to increase the remittances and also to encourage more Kenyans to send more money? And to encourage more Kenyans to go out there.
Sure.
Where the job opportunities are.
Good question.
Yeah. City, one quick story in a minute.
Yes,
in a minute.
USAID has been known for supporting health provision and health service in the country.
Yes.
I came across this very interesting story where, in fact, with a partnership with the International Fund for Animal Welfare, they have provided a 5-year sustainable management for the Amboseli and Savo landscape project. They have provided money. They provided a total of, wait for it, 5 vehicles, as in motorcar, and 21 motorbikes.
Motorcar.
A motorcar as in motorcar, and then piki-piki. Okay? Yes, not tuk-tuk, piki-piki. Yes. Now, when I think about conservation, it's the last thing I would have thought that USAID would be involved in. Because let me say, it is I and my ignorance at play here.
You've dealt with them in one
sphere, and that's what I knew them for. Right. But clearly, this issue about communities living well and ensuring that this biodiversity that cuts across many communities is well catered for, and jumping into that fray, that signals some good thinking and forward movement.
But they've been on it for a while.
Yes.
And various other projects, including the community empowerment projects, governance and such.
How loudly do we hear of these things being spoken?
As loudly as if you're in that sphere. You hear about the health because you've been in that sphere. Others have not heard about them than health.
Yes.
Same.
Okay.
It's a proximity. It's a frog in the stream. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. Remember, Kiwi is giving you a chance to win 35,000 shillings worth of school fees. We'll tell you more about it at 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto has asked leaders to be vigilant and serve the people. Speaking in Bomet County, Ruto said Kenyans had delivered on their part of the bargain and it is now the political class's opportunity to discharge their part of the election contract. He explained that it is possible to move Kenya forward if leaders are united and committed to their work. The head of state said the ongoing collection of data from farmers will inform the government on the right moves to make to produce more food.
Nimeenda juzi na jana nimeenda sehemu ya Nyanza kwa sababu mimi nataka ieleweke Kenya ya kwamba wananchi wa Kenya kupitia demokrasia walienda kwa kura, wakapiga kura na wakatupatia kazi. Sisi tukapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha serikali. Wale ndugu zetu wengine wakapatiwa kazi ya kuendesha upinzani. Na hiyo kazi yote ni ili mwananchi wa Kenya aweze kupata huduma, aweze kushughulikiwa na mambo yake, na nitangaze ya kwamba hakuna mwananchi wa upinzani. Wananchi wote ni wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
This as Kericho Assembly Speaker Patrick Mutai has been ordered to appear before the disciplinary committee of the UDA party following the leadership tension that continues to be witnessed in the Assembly. In a letter, the chairperson of the disciplinary committee of UDA, Charles Njenga, has instructed Mutai to appear before the committee on Friday this week. President William Ruto, who is also the UDA party leader, criticized Kericho County MCAs as well as the leadership of the Assembly for propagating differences in the Assembly instead of delivering for the Kericho residents. And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has vowed to come to the aid of the ailing Mukami Kimathi wife to celebrated Kenyan freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi. The country's second-in-command noted that it was only recently brought to his attention that Ms. Kimathi, who is 101 years old, was admitted to a Nairobi hospital for attention. Now, days after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission ranked Nakuru County as top of the list for bribery demands, the county is again on the spotlight, this time over the alleged illegal extension of the tenure of a county official. The anti-graft body is investigating the alleged irregular extension of the term of office of Zipporah Sintoya Gad, whose non-renewable 6-year term expired in August 2019, following her assumption of office in August 2013 as the secretary to the County Public Service Board. EACC says Gad's term is indicated in her appointment letter dated 8th of August 2013, signed by interim county secretary Stella Langat on the same date. Gad's contract was irregularly extended by 3 months from 8th of August 2019 to November 2019 by then County Secretary Elizabeth Loichoki. And the Teacher Service Commission will employ all teachers who served as interns in 2022 on a permanent and pensionable basis. A memo from the Commission's Acting Director of Staffing, Joseph Mugele, said the cohort will be absorbed in the ongoing teacher recruitment as the government seeks to recruit 35,550 teachers this month to address the teacher-student ratio gap. As such, Mugele requested the Human Resources Director not to remove the interns from the payroll. The recruitment of the 35,550 teachers is the first phase of absorbing a planned 116,000 teachers. President William Ruto said in October after TSC CEO Nancy Macharia revealed the commission was short of 114,581 teachers. Last month, TSC noted that 10,000 of these will be employed on permanent and pensionable terms, while the other 25,550 will be on internship. And a bomb killed at least 10 people and wounded 39 others after ripping through a church in eastern DR Congo in an attack blamed on suspected Islamists. Details of the attack are hazy, but Congolese military spokesperson Anthony Mwalushai said the terrorist act happened in a Pentecostal church in North Kivu's province Kasindi, a town on the border with Uganda. A Kenyan was arrested following the bomb blast, although the perpetrator of the attack in the turbulent region remains unclear. The DRC's communications ministry said that the attack was apparently carried out by the Allied Democratic Forces ADF, which the Islamist Standard Group claims as its affiliate in Central Africa. And Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the military operation in Ukraine had gained positive momentum and that he hoped his soldiers would deliver more wins after Russia claimed control of eastern Ukrainian salt mining town of Solda. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto, more in an hour. Good morning.
The SpiceFM Newswire is brought to you by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Get to see the world through a new lens and capture the moments that truly matter.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, still continues this morning, and we're seeing it then heavy coming off the Thika Superhighway. As you get towards the Pangani underpass, we're going to see more traffic as you get out into the CBD. We're looking at a little bit of it on Mombasa Road this morning, as well as you get out towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. But we're looking at it not being too crazy, at least not for now. Outer Ring is going to have a touch of traffic as you go out, then touching on the junctions, then at Manyanja, Kangundu, and then Juja Road. Into the CBD as well. It's also building up on Jogo Road just past the train station. It's going to take you out to the City Stadium roundabout and then on to Landis. So it looks like Monday morning is starting busy already. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter to keep things moving this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning and welcome to the second hour of the Situation Room. It's Monday morning, 16th day of January 2000. Wait, what happened, by the way, with the fuel prices on Saturday?
Did you see anything?
Kulianaje? I don't remember. Bwana Kipto, you need to come to the Situation Room again. That's the EPRA DG to talk about the work that he does. I'm sure they release something, but ukiona kuku na kelele.
That's what I'm saying. If you didn't hear any noise, nothing has changed.
Was probably retained at that same level. Probably. Okay. Now, you can win school fees because it's how many days to the opening of the schools?
9.
Can you imagine?
Actually, 8.
8.
7 for some, 8 for others.
If you count like that. So in a week's time, children go back to school.
Absolutely. And I know the school fees headache is still one that's being felt by a lot of folks. Kiwi saying step up and shine and have an opportunity to get some school fees in your pocket. Make it possible for your kids to go back to school. Go to any supermarket today, buy the Kiwi black shoe polish, and then under the lid you will find a code which you will send when you dial *459*5#. You win airtime or bundles, and then you also win a chance to enter the draw. Could see you winning 35,000 shillings. It goes towards school fees. It's until the 7th of February. Take advantage. Do it now.
Yes, indeed. So yesterday I was watching the Arsenal game. Arsenal versus Tottenham's Hotspur, where we beat them 2-0. Just like that. And I was watching it on Showmax.
Were you?
And Showmax.
So you've proven these things.
This is the beauty. So it doesn't matter whether you're near your TV or not, as long as you have Showmax, and especially if now the Showmax Pro, you get to watch live sport, live football, wherever you are on your mobile device. Just download the Showmax Showmax app. Or if you're at home, you can just have the Showmax app as well on your smart device. You watch the best entertainment, TV shows, series, documentaries, movies. You also get to watch what else, City?
Have you mentioned documentaries?
Yes.
Have you mentioned movies?
Yes.
Well,
children's programming. Cartoons.
I was going to go to animation. Yes. And beyond
animations.
Yes,
animations. Real life stories.
Yo.
Yes.
Reality TV.
Reality TV.
That's
the one. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. And in addition to that, live TV as well. Live international news and live sports. We have a guest in the studio, the Member of Parliament for Molo constituency. Before we welcome and introduce him, he will hear the day's proverb, City.
Yes, the proverbs for the whole of this week are from the country of Mozambique.
Msumbiji.
Okay. Msumbiji. Yeah. Among the many languages spoken.
Frelimo,
yes, exactly.
Samora Machel.
Msumbiji, that's the name of Mozambique in Kiswahili.
Oh, right.
Now, given the countries that Mozambique neighbors, you will find that the languages are demonstrative of the borders they have. For instance, you'll find communities in Mozambique that speak Shona, which means the border Zimbabwe. Now, this one is what I found interesting. There are communities that speak Kiswahili and they're saying Kiswahili. I said, yes, because the border Tanzania. Okay? And so on and so forth. Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Yes. You may think you're alone if you're by a stream, so you and your co-conspirator are busy nattering away and gossiping about someone and speaking ill of them. True, other human beings may not be there, but the frogs are there and they can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
They are of no consequence.
That, I think, is the implication. But are they?
Are they really?
Yes.
Can they repeat what you said?
Yes, they can.
To the other person?
In the lingua franca of the frogs, yes. Braga.
Oh, beautiful.
Francis Kuria Kimani, MP, Molo constituency. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Great to be here.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
That proverb from Mozambique, when you hear it, what's your interpretation of it?
I'm thinking the equivalent of what you have in my community. Like, you should not speak ill of a tree when you're sitting on the roots. Or you should not speak ill of a snake if you are seated near a stone or a rock. So I think this knowledge is synonymous to most of our communities. But most importantly, sometimes you may not know. You know this interesting thing when you find yourself at an airport and you're probably speaking Swahili or your vernacular and you wouldn't imagine there is anyone who will hear what you're saying. Then someone stops in the market like, atunasamaje hapo bro? Shit, this is in London, I shouldn't but someone
and there you are just talking and blubbering away.
Oh yes.
Mheshimiwa, you're also the chairman of the Finance and National Planning Committee of the National Assembly.
Yes, I am.
This is a very important committee. For those who may not just know the workings of the committee, basically this is the committee that's in charge of thinking about the plans, the economic planning of the country, working hand in hand with the State Department for National Planning, and also looking at finance. And this is how to finance the country's budget and operations. What is the full mandate of the committee?
Thank you very much. I think we'll have to do probably a few days if you have to really go through the whole mandate. But you put it very well. The major function of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning is to bake the cake for the country. What does baking the cake mean? Parliament is a budget-making house. So the different committees on the National Assembly will come up with a budget according to the state departments that they oversight. Now, the Committee of Budget and National Planning will now correlate all the reports from all the committees and come up with a budget. Now, the Committee on Finance and National Planning now looks at ways to raise revenue to support that budget. And so mainly, if I to put it plainly, then ours is mainly looking at ways, the revenue raising measures of for the national government, and then secondly, we are supposed to watch on that, advice on the debt ceiling and what are the options for this, in addition to oversighting various state departments, for example, the Ministry of Treasury and Economic Planning, the Commission of Revenue Allocation, Kenya Revenue Authority, Central Bank, financial, all these matters finance, all those state departments and parastatals that are finance related, then will not report, like will be the one oversighting their decisions and the expenditures. And then, of course, as I said, raising revenue for the country, but also in charge of the economic planning of this country, because I think one of the most understated mandates of any government, especially Treasury, has been economic planning. What macro and microeconomic policies are going to put in place to whether it is to spur development growth or which direction is the country taking in terms of the macro and microeconomic decisions, policies that they're going to make. What are the economic blueprints? Where do you want to be? What should be our targeted GDP growth? How do we achieve that? How do we make sure that we tackle inflation? How do we make sure that the matters of, for example, foreign exchange, like the strength of the shilling and all of that. So it's a whole it's a whole conversation.
It's a basket of things to do.
Yeah, we'd also talk about, for example, one of the other institutions that we oversight is SASRA. And SASRA is a body that oversights SACCOs. So again, we are mandated to make sure that whether it is that the members' deposits in SACCOs are well taken care of, because SASRA is supposed to do their work. Bank supervision is done through central bank, so you'll find sometimes we will get involved in that. We also involved in the capital. We also oversight the Capital Markets Authority to make sure that all transactions that are done are above board, and there is no monopoly. It's a whole it's a whole conversation we should have for a whole week. It's a lot of things.
Many of the things that, of course, will directly touch on the Mwananchi is what you said, baking the cake. True. Baking the cake is looking at the various sources of money that will then finance a budget, key among them being taxation. So you are the people who will determine how we are taxed for a financial year.
Yes, but there's an ongoing conversation. It's not just the Committee on Finance and National Planning, but we are mandated by the Constitution and by standing orders of Parliament now to spearhead the process. So we're going to find in the next few weeks, then the National Treasury will come up with what we call the Finance Bill. So Finance Bill is a bill that proposes several revenue raising measures that we should use now to finance the budget. And once now that bill comes to our committee, the first thing we need to do is do what we call public participation, because our constitution is very clear that you cannot make any decisions without involving the public. And we have got ourselves into trouble because of not doing that. There are very many tax laws, for example, that have been challenged successfly in court because of there not being public participation.
Sufficient public participation.
Yeah. So the committee is going now to go around the country, and then listen to the various stakeholders, all the stakeholders. In fact, it is all stakeholders, because in addition to the physical sitting meetings that have to be gazetted, we must say that we'll be at place X, and this is the conversation that we want to have. Then people can still send in their memoranda through email, and they have to be received and they have to fall part of our report. So after now listening to all these people, then we're going to retreat and make a decision, find out, because the debate on taxes is that you will say no, increase it to 20%. No, this one will say no, we should do it at 15%. Then that one we should say we should do it at 0%. Then we'll compare all the merits and the demerits of all the conversations that are going to be advanced by different stakeholders, do a report, present it to now the National Assembly, the full House, and hopefully convince the National Assembly to pass the bill. And then when it's signed, and again it's taken for President for accent, and then once the President signs it, then it becomes law.
How do you go through the process? What do you do to go through the process of ensuring that all the stakeholders are informed of the public participation exercises that you wish to conduct? And how do you ensure that they understand the same thing that you are coming to listen to them talk about?
I think pretty much that could also be why I'm here, because once we start now having this conversation, that if you have a view that you need us to know about or to hear, then there is an avenue for you to come and say it. But to answer your question more directly, is that there must be a gazette notice. The sittings of those public participation hearings must be published in the local dailies of national circulation, and I think with 7 days notice at least. So the venue, the subject, the venue and the agenda of the meeting must be advertised in the local dailies, in fact it's all the local dailies with national circulation, and then stating the dates and the time and the agenda, of that meeting, and then anybody desires now to come and contribute to that particular issue just is welcome. But most of the time, for the sake of planning, then would require you to write in advance, so that we're able to allocate and say the media council will present their issues between 8 and 8:30, and ISPAC, this several public accountants, will probably do this between this and this, and then Uraia Forum will have this, TIFA will have this, all these many stakeholders. But I will say, because I've served in the Committee of Finance and National Planning for the last the whole life of the tour of Parliament, and I saw including very many young people just making a presentation by themselves, just one young man,
individual citizen, coming,
just individual citizen coming and say, I oppose this or I propose this, and we've had some very brilliant ideas coming from them, and one of the things that I learned was, for example, about the LAFACAV. I am a finance student, but I think I missed that lesson on the LAFACAV. And basically, what LAFACAV is, we were able to demystify the theory that increase in the rate of taxes will lead to increase in tax collection, and that is what the focus has always been. You want to collect more?
So
increase the rates. Increase the rates.
The tax rate, yes.
The tax rate, yes. And someone came and said, no, let me tell you something about LAFACAV. The more you increase the rate of tax, you're going to collect more until a particular time where you're going to plateau. It's going to plateau, and you're going now to start collecting less. And I'm like, perhaps you've achieved that LAFACAV for some of our tax brackets. I think there's some rates that we should not increase them anymore. In any case, therefore, if we want to collect more, maybe we need to reduce the rate of tax. And reducing that rate of tax is not going to make us collect less. It's going to make us collect more.
So if I may jump in and ask then, just looking at some of the things that you've spoken about and talked about public participation, for me, it's really very important. We've seen countries who operate on public participation, that because they realize that government works for the people, then they are going to take the opinions of the people seriously, that they will not spend government money until they essentially get the approval of the people. They will not make decisions when it comes to the legislation for government until they get approval from the people. I mean, there are many countries that do this, and they're very transparent in their workings, so you can actually see how this happens. So how serious then does this committee, does this process take on public participation? Because one would assume that during these forums is where you find brilliant suggestions from people about how you can actually get your development curve moving in an upwardly direction when it comes to this whole budget making process, when it comes to taxes and things like this. How seriously is it taken? And I'm serious about that question. How seriously is it taken?
I may not speak on behalf of others, but I'm going to speak as a chairperson of Finance and National Planning Committee. One of the things I did once I was elected as a chairperson was to look at all laws and all tax, especially all tax laws, that the Committee of Finance and National Planning has been taken to court, and Parliament has been taken to court because of not doing public participation. In a inaugural speech, I told my members guys, we have to change the way we're doing this. And this is the impact of it. Because once now we saw that report, we were able to see that there are so many tax proposals or tax laws or particular taxes that we are supposed to collect because they were approved.
Yeah.
But somebody went to court. For example, the Honorable now Senator Okio Mutata, as in, is one of the experts in that field. He went to court and was able to prove that there was no public participation in the passing of that law. And as a result, courts have nullified those taxes. Let me tell you what that means. And I'm going to try and relate that to and see how that relates to public debt. We first of all pass what's called the budget estimates, or the budget. We say that this financial year of 2023, we're going to spend 3 trillion shillings.
Yep.
Okay? And we agree. So once the budget is approved by Parliament, the respective departments draw up their plans, whether they're procurement plan, whatever, based on the 3 trillion.
Yep.
But that 3 trillion shillings is based on our ability to finance it.
Finance it, yes.
So before now, at the tail end of the process, the Treasury has to tell us, how do we finance this? And that's why I come in, I say, the 3 trillion shillings will be financed by, we're going to raise 2.6 trillion, we're going to raise this amount of money through these taxes, and probably borrow, X. So if, therefore, we passed a particular excise, and therefore the budget was approved based on how much we expected to raise in that excise, then that excess duty is nullified by the courts. Remember, the budget has already been approved.
Yes.
So spending has already started. Commenced. And therefore, governments sometimes have had now no option than now to borrow, whether internally or externally. And therefore, I was able to convince my committee, and we have agreed that actually part of the growing debt is because we are passing these laws haphazardly, in a hurry, forgetting that we have a new constitution and we have a very robust judiciary system where anybody, and I mean anybody, can actually take that matter to court and challenge it. And if they are able to prove that there is merit, that, for example, there was no public participation, or that it's because the two reasons why those laws were nullified by the courts were given 2 reasons. 90% of them, no public participation. The rest 10% was that they were unconstitutional. I know they felt they were able to prove that, but they offended particular aspects of the constitution. And so that's why I took it upon myself and said, we are not going to be doing this anymore, because even by the time that law is coming to be passed, there is a lot of money that will be spent, and you put it very well, in the process, because this public participation forum cost money. These publications in the newspapers and all that cost money. When all these people are sitting there listening and doing the report, a lot of money has been used. So if then that money has been used and that law, it becomes null and void, then we are wasting public funds.
So what does it mean then, Mheshimiwa? Because you sat in that committee that was the Finance Committee of the 12th Parliament, okay? There was some level of public participation from your defense in court. We publicized this, we put in the newspapers, we held meetings with this and the other. The issue was the threshold of public participation. So now as chairman, what are you setting as a new threshold for public participation? What do you define as public participation?
For you to introduce any amendment or any clause, that particular clause must have been heard in a public participation forum. That was the biggest reason. Because in the process, we would, for example, say we are taxing this...
That Minute Maid juice.
Minute Maid juice, for example. And that's what we engage the public on public participation.
Right.
This juice is in a plastic container.
Yeah.
And then along the way, we actually realized there is actually another Minute Maid that is not on plastic containers, that is on glass containers. So, and again, remember also this public participation is a process. We are still in the process of making sure that we fully implement the constitution. Public participation is not something that is with us for so long. It's something that we are training ourselves to do that. So we will go and say now, in addition to the juice in the plastic bottles, we are also going to tax the juice in the glass bottles. So that is the basis of a court to nullify. Because when we engaged you, we did not talk about
just the plastic.
We just talked about the plastic, and I was using that as just an example, basic, to show what it is, and therefore that understanding now calls for, because a comma, a full stop, a punctuation mark, sometimes even, because even when we're passing this bill, we will not, in the bill there will not be minutaries. It will be a code, because this in KRA this particular product has a code. It's probably 900.1234.678.91011. Yeah. So if the end digit there is 11, and whatever you pass is a 12,
that's it.
So we're talking about precision. We're talking about being extremely deliberate in doing things right.
Okay.
And making sure there is no adjustment, there is no there is no any amendment that has been introduced in the process without having involved the stakeholders. And in the event that there is a necessity to introduce something that was not part of the discussion, then you must bring that aspect to public participation. Again, yes. And I think, I said again, I've been able to see this because I was very active in that committee. I sat through all those sittings. And then sometimes I would be surprised, when the courts now would say that. But then when now reading the judgment and reading the report that was done by the secretariat of my committee, then I was able to see this is why we're doing it wrong. And now I think the first thing is to accept where is a mistake and how to rectify it. So that we make sure that no taxpayers' money is wasted in a law-making process where that law becomes null and void.
Mheshimiwa, let's take a break. It's 7:30, actually 29 minutes to 8. This is the Situation Room. Now, speaking of Minute Maid, let's take a Minute Maid break. Okay? So the one in front of you is an apple. This one is Nutri Defense's Nectar Mango. What's the other one?
It's
orange.
It's orange. Yeah, take your pick, Mheshimiwa. A Minute Maid break is just to think about the times during the day when you need to inject some flavor, some energy into your life. When you're busy in your committee meetings, take a break, have a Minute Maid. Okay?
My juice doesn't have a glass though.
Very good. The glass is coming. Okay? Time for that break with Mheshimiwa Francis Kuria Kimani, the MP for Molo constituency, Chairman of the Finance and National Planning Committee of the National Assembly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord. Thank you very much. I've earned another title today, this morning at SpiceFM. Mama Justice, I don't mind it.
Joel in Kericho.
Salama sana Heri, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama bwana, mambo namna gani?
Salama kabisa bro.
Mambo ya Aina Moi kuliendaje?
Mambo ya Aina Moi, vile nilikwambia ndugu yangu, alienda asubuhi na ile gari ya kwanza.
I must have missed it.
So did I.
Even if somebody was to render you irrelevant, there is still work you can do.
Okay, sawa.
I deserve to keep you accountable. You deserve to give me a report. You don't work for me. I don't work for you. You work for me.
Do you like that Freudian slip? Lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, Find a unique code under the lid. Dial star 459 star 5 hash and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and
Sunny
shine.
conditions in Nairobi, we'll see highs of 26 and lows of 14. It's cloudy at 13 in Nakuru and 11 and cloudy in Nyeri. It's 12 and sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24, and looking at mostly cloudy conditions at 26 in Mombasa. We'll go to highs of 32. We'll also see highs of 32 in Malindi, where the sun is up this morning as well. Sunny at 19 in Kisumu, highs of 28, and it'll go to highs of 30 in a sunny Kakamega at 19. It's 19 and sunny out in Kampala, and we'll see cloudy conditions at 27 in Dar es Salaam, going to highs of 31. Johannesburg is cloudy at 17 and highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 34 in a clear Lagos at 26. It's 24 and cloudy in Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 22.
Spice up your life.
Thika Road traffic starts at the Allsops Junction, and it's heavy going towards the CBD. Mombasa Road clear all the way through as you get to the roundabout at Nyayo Stadium, and then it's going to clog up just a little bit as you're heading out into the city. Coming out of Westlands also looks like it's going to be a busy morning. Waiaki Way, crossing over, you can use the Red Hill Link Road to get into the city much quicker because the traffic will hold you down for some time. Jogo Road also busy as you're going out towards Landis and then through Kamkunji into the city centre. Continues in Outer Ring, Airport Road, North Airport Road rather, then leads towards Outer Ring with some traffic there. The Eastern Bypass looks a bit cloggy this morning, entering into traffic hour proper now. We'll see what happens at about 8 o'clock. Help us out, folks. Know what's going on where you are. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Everything nice.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Situation Room on Spice FM and online and on TV as well. Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, CT Muga, and our guest, the Honorable Kuria Kimani, MP Molo Constituency, Chairman, Finance and National Planning Committee of the National Assembly. Mheshimiwa.
Yes, sir.
Are Kenyans overtaxed? Are Kenyans overtaxed?
Kenyans are not overtaxed. We just have a few Kenyans paying all the taxes, and many more Kenyans that should pay their rightful share of taxes not paying taxes. That's what is happening. We have those that should pay are not paying, and those that are paying, end up bearing all the burden.
Okay.
Let me give an example. If you get a job at Standard Media Group, the first thing you are asked to provide is your KRA PIN in addition to the rest.
Yeah.
And your salary is definitely taxed. So you make 30,000 shillings a month. Maybe you're intern, whatever job group that is. Then you actually get to pay, I think it's 4,000 or 5,000 shillings every month, and it's deducted at source by employer. It's not whether you choose or not. It's deducted automatically. You find someone who has, for example, a hardware in River Road, and they turn around 1 million shillings every day. Like the sales alone is one mic. So even if the margin is maybe 20%, that is 200,000. In 30 days, that is 6 million. They operate under a business name. And then, so when they're filing, or even if it's a company, when they're filing a return, they file new returns. So someone who is making a profit of 6 million shillings every month isn't paying a dime of taxes. Someone who is employed at Standard Group, earning 30 shillings a month, gets to pay their income tax. That's what you're saying.
Okay.
If we had everybody pay their right share of taxes, then absolutely we wouldn't have to feel the burden. But now the attitude at the past, and that's why I'm happy with the statement by His Excellency the President yesterday, that we're not going to do waivers anymore. Because you owe Kenya Revenue Authority 1 billion shillings, and then you go and apply for a waiver, and you actually waived off 500 million shillings from your taxes. But is the person who is paying his VAT on sugar when they go to buy sugar in the shop, do they get that waiver? Is you and I who are salaried and get deductions on pay on our monthly salary, on our allowances, on everything, do we get that waiver?
We don't.
And so if we stop, we seal all these loopholes of because the reason why the person making 30,000 shillings a month here pays their rightful payer of tax is they don't know anybody. But a big company, or let me say the big boys, who should pay 1 billion shillings of tax because they can get an appointment with whoever, then they actually get to have a waiver.
So how do we seal those loopholes?
First of all, it's a government adjustment. There must be political goodwill. Let's start from there, and that is a political direction that the president is leading us to. That's now going to lead to a consequent adjustment of the Kenya Revenue Authority, where you don't just walk in and say, guys, I think I need a waiver here. It's like, no waivers. You have to pay your rightful share of tax. And I think that to me is really going to head us in the right direction. We're talking about using now intelligent systems, focusing more on making sure that everyone pays. Let me give an example. We have guys who are doing, for example, contracts with government. And when they do that particular service, especially for supply of services, there's a withholding tax that's withheld from you who did some work with the county of Homa Bay. Now the structural adjustments or the framework or the operational adjustment that KRA is making is to make sure that once Homa Bay County withholds that tax from you, then the system reflects that Ndu has been paid 10 million shillings because withholding tax has been paid 10 million shillings and the withholding tax was this much. So you should actually pay this amount of tax from your end. For those, for example, contractors that do or those that do the services of whether it's road constructions and all that, there's a concept that we're calling input and output tax. So the output, the amount of tax they are paying would be cancelled off with the amount of tax they paid as the input tax. Okay, but what would they do? They would go and gather receipts. I never knew why you
prove expenditure.
Yeah, to prove expenditure. So that you and I that don't do business with government, you probably buy your fuel or whatever, and then you have paid a tax on it. Then it was a whole business. It was a whole business enterprise of collecting those
receipt collections.
Receipt collections. So someone is going on the dustbin and saying a receipt iko na hii ni 800, hii iko na 800, hii iko na 900 iko. And then they would actually aggregate those receipts and use them to claim input tax. As a result, because they are actually not incurred that expense in the first place, then they were able to defraud the government of potential, of numerous revenues. And therefore, these are now the things that we're tightening. And as a result, by the way, it also led to inflation. Inflation means where the cost of things were just ballooning. Because if you remember a few years ago, if you went to property, for example, property prices, you find an apartment that probably should cost 5 million is selling at 10. Prices really shot up because there are people who, whether you buy or not, there are few people who actually have the 10 million shillings to buy. That is not decently earned. It's you work.
It's easy.
You work
money.
very hard. You are here every morning before 6. Then you research on the show. You're here. You work hard, and then some guys do a lot of nothings, and then they have crazy money. And as a result, they were crowding out. Real business people, and actually leading to inflation. Whether you call them wash or whatever they were called. They drove the prices very high, because the market, if even they knew the market, whatever you put in the market, then there will be someone to buy it because they had the money. But you who earns a decent income and who pays your rightful share of tax were not able to afford that lifestyle, or not afford to afford those services.
I have to ask you, how, knowing all of this information, from the things that you're telling us now, knowing all of this, knowing that only a percentage of those who pay taxes are actually contributing to this kitty, number one. Number two, there's a whole bunch of others who are not paying, who are not contributing. Are you then saying that if everybody was contributing in the way in which it is envisioned, that everybody would be paying less in what they pay in taxes?
Exactly.
Number one.
Exactly.
Number two, I don't think people would have an issue with how much they paid in tax if they could see the fruits of their labor. A lot of the things that we often hear about, let's look at the public system, because that is government. Right? Not the individuals who have opened up things in the private sector to make things work. In government, and look across board, health, infrastructure, education, agriculture, the things that we've been harping on about for the last however many years. Look at a situation today when 23 counties are affected by drought. Things that happen in other countries. Again, I'm sorry, but I have to go back to other countries. That happen because now when you say the public coffers are then going to be able to take care of that. And these public coffers are often made up by the taxes that their people pay. The problem is that we complain about being overtaxed is that unfortunately sometimes you cannot see, most times, you cannot see the result of this tax, number one. Are there other ways that the operations of government can be funded aside of tax? And is that some of the stuff that this committee that you chair would be able to look into? Because when we talk about a budget and how it is going to then be financed, the majority of the finance comes from taxes. In terms of creativity, in terms of thinking about other things that can be done to fund government, do those things land at the desk of the committee?
Thank you very much. I'm picking your mind, and you're speaking the view of many Kenyans. Most people want to pay their rightful share of taxes, but they really want to see where the government or where that money is going
Value
to.
for money.
And value for money. And if you look, the focus on this Kenya Kwanza government has been mainly on this service delivery. We are going to find, because and the way we are going to deliver that, to have that service delivery, is when we have hardworking government. Hardworking government. It's a way, I used that example earlier, it's the way you guys turn up here early in the morning every day. That's what we want, the hard work from government. And I think there is no room for laxity in this government. We were in a retreat with all this government the other day, and you could see the vibrance and the attention to detail that the president was doing and was holding everyone to account for. And if that continues, and I'm sure it's going to continue, then those issues that you're talking about, you're going to find a very big change, from them. One of the decisions that the president made was the cutting down the budget by 300 billion and saying, we are not going to spend money on things that we should not be spending on. As a result, by us saving the 300 billion shillings, that money has been redirected to other functions that have a direct impact on Wanjiko. whether you're talking about the Hustlers Fund, whether you're talking about the recruitment of 30,000 teachers, So let me tell you, for example, the creativity that you're talking about and this, even in terms of what are the priorities of government in their spending. Just by employing the 30,000 teachers, the multiplier effect of that is we're actually going to increase the amount of tax we are collecting. Because we're going to have 30,000 other people
pay as you earn.
Pay. The 30,000, again, it has a multiplier effect because those people will be deployed from across the country. They're going to rent your apartment in Elbagon. They're going to buy their food they're going to pay their debts and all that. And the multiplier effect of the 30,000 teachers is actually going to be felt. If we increase again the recruitment of our police officers, again, we're also dealing with another problem of unemployment. Outside that, you asked whether there are any creative ways apart from raising of increasing taxes. This government is now very keen on public-private partnerships, PPPs. And you're saying, if we have a private sector investor who wants to come and invest in a public good or public service, as long as there's appropriate measures, then we are going to have the public gaining from that particular service, and we don't have to borrow for that project, and we do not have to increase taxes for it, and it's going to also lead to spur economic growth.
Then why is it? I'm sorry, but I have a book. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think I have to stop on that train of thought. That as we sit here in this room, these are things that are coming from you. And we have nobody to look to. Kenyans have nobody to look to, but for those who are making the laws about how they are going to operate in life. So these are ideas that are coming from you. The thing is that Kenyans want to see these things come to life. How will they actually come to life? We talk about all the time about how the ideas are there. We know what ought to be done, but then not doing them seems to be a problem. In the good book, we'll even call it a sin. That you know what should be done, it is not done, then you're doing something wrong. Why can't we actually see these things happening?
This government is only been 100 days in office, and you're going to be seeing these changes. I'll give you one example. The Ridoni Mausamit Road. It was supposed to be duo. You remember over Christmas we had people literally sleeping at Gilgil and at all the station. Yeah. So there was a proposal. It's really advanced in terms of dualing that highway. It's going to pass through my constituency all the way to a place called Mausamit. That road will open up, South Rift as in big way. It was through a PPP partnership. But once this government started looking at the details of what was on the PPP, then it was actually a rip-off. Right. Because it was to be done at more than double, the cost of which is going to be done. And there was no proper mechanism to know at what point should the road revert back to the people. Because like, for example, once we resume from recess, we are going to start an inquiry onto the revenues that are raised by this Nairobi Expressway. Everyone agrees. Perfect idea. You want to get to wherever you're going faster. Are you willing to pay an extra cost for it? If you are, then there's an option. Use the expressway. Sure. And as a result, when you use the expressway, you actually reduce traffic on Mombasa. As a result, now Mombasa Road has really expanded. If you go to somewhere like Kitengela now, it used to take a lot of time here in Pronongo that, and you're finding now business and settlements and everything growing up on this particular area. However, as we realized, because the essence of this, the PPP on, for example, the Nairobi Express was supposed to be, you are building this road at, I'm just saying for conversion's sake, at 10 billion, for conversion's sake, okay? So you build it at 10 billion, and then you're supposed to recoup your costs from the collections you get by users of these roads, okay?
Over what period of time?
So those are the questions that...
27 years.
Yes, those are the questions. But you see, it shouldn't even be the number. The question of the 27 years should be, how much have you collected?
Yeah.
So any
It's
of you,
until you collect
you
until
have-
you collect this amount plus your interest of this much.
but how do you verify how much they collect? Because they're the ones collecting it, especially when the mode of payment is cash. Only. So there's no audit trail.
So when
So-
we
so
say
some- so
this,
someone can-
when
can
we
just
say
say
this,
it.
then Mheshimiwa, okay, there is a PPP for the expressway. It's completed. There was we were at a very advanced stage of getting the Rironi Summit contract done. Which parliamentary committee was responsible for oversighting those and making sure that before anything is actually inked, you have the approval of Parliament?
For the roads, that would be transport.
Okay.
That would be the transport committee.
So then the questions are asked, what happened in the 12th Parliament?
You know what happened?
Because all these things we're talking about happened in the 12th Parliament.
12th Parliament was full of intimidation, was full of political blackmail. That you made a decision, you made a statement that was unpopular with the government, and the next time the taxman was on your door, and the next time there was a case by DPP.
Are we saying that
by ACC.
with this government, we will see nothing of that sort?
The promise that you've got, and I really want to hold the president accountable for it, and I'm sure he will keep it, is that he's going to allow everyone to have divergent views. And allow them, and for example, if I diverge a little, this statement will be a little political, but okay.
You're a politician.
And this is the station room anyway. So the visit by His Excellency the President to Nyanza, to Homa Bay and to all that, and I saw the dalliance of my predecessor, Honorable Gladys Wanga, and all these other leaders from Nyanza, and I saw the committee is going to welcome the president, and the discussion was about how economic plans for that region. They didn't have to join government. They didn't have to take up leadership positions, and it has been clear. I want you as opposition to carry out your oversight role without fear. Because I want my government to be put to account. And for you even to get development in your areas, you don't need to join government. Tell us when you're doing it wrong. As members of parliament, even for me as a member of parliament in Kenya Kwanza in UDA, he has expressly told us in our meetings, if you find that any of my ministers, any of my PSs, or anyone is doing things wrongly, supporting government does not mean, keeping your mouth shut. It means telling us how and what is going wrong. And now for the 3 months, we have actually had 3 PGs, 3 parliamentary group meetings, and one leadership meeting. And in those parliamentary group meetings, they're like conversations, fine. So are there matters that you think are not going well? And there is that leeway, there's that freedom to say, I think that this direction is wrong. I think that statement. And then we have a conversation about that. And we find a solution.
And to peg my question to what you've just said, we have people who don't pay taxes. There are those who have no choice but to pay. KRA are the ones who collect taxes. So if there's this problem, what is KRA's involvement and what has KRA done to ensure, because there's no other agency in the country that collects taxes, it's them. What do they do to make sure that these people who don't pay actually pay? And what does the committee that you head do to ensure, because the loophole has been cited, it is clear? What's the solution?
That is where my role has been cut. And for what do you did in the last 2 months? Because I've only been chair for 2 months. For the 2 months we've done, part of it was the approval of the PSs, the PS Treasury, PS Economic Affairs, the approval of commissioners for revenue allocation. Then we broke on recess. We come back from recess next week. We have a whole week induction, of different experts in all fields, trying to make sure that they equip us with the relevant skills for this job. And then after that, we start with the finance bill. So I think perhaps in the next, when you have this quarterly conversation, then I'll be able to say the progress that we've made.
Well, Mheshimiwa, we thank you very much for joining us. And I know there's a lot still to talk about, and especially when you come back now into the recess, from the recess, and you begin looking at the Finance Committee, we want you to come and we talk about it. Your closing remarks for today.
Thank you very much. Mine is to really thank you for the candid conversations that we have, touching on every subject. And you keep us informed. You keep us on check. You ask us the tough questions. And we have been given the mandate by the people. It is our responsibility to make sure that we answer to your questions to a satisfactory, and even when we don't know the answer, then to go and find about it. I've picked a few things that you've said, and I'm going to, every time we're going to call myself for a meeting, for example, are we doing public participation? Are we doing public participation for the sake of it? Or are we listening to what the people are saying? How do we make sure we stop overburdening people in taxes? How do we make sure that everybody pays the rightful share of tax? How do we make sure we finance a budget outside the normal taxes and borrowing? So I really want to thank you for this show, and you can be sure that where I sit, I'll do my best to get the job done.
We'll hold you accountable for that.
Thank you.
That's the purpose of this show. And welcome again.
Thank you.
The Honorable Francis Kuria Kimani is the chairman of the Finance and National Planning Committee of the National Assembly. He represents the good people of Molo constituency in the National Assembly.
And
perhaps do a shout out.
Yes.
In 2 seconds.
This is to really thank all the people of Molo. This is the first time ever for the last 30 years that Molo has re-elected a member of parliament. And for the people of Molo, I'm eternally grateful. And I'm going to let you down. I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to get the job done. Thank you.
Very well. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has assured Kenyans that the country is safe and that their security is guaranteed. The CS noted that persons manning the defense docket, which is under his leadership, and their counterparts in Interior under Professor Kithure Kindiki, are well informed about the responsibility in their hands to ensure citizens live free from fear of attacks. Speaking in Ojia during the homecoming of Principal Secretary in the State Department of Culture and Heritage, Umi Bashir, Duale noted that the country has deployed sufficient resources to respond to any threat. He urged members of the community to cooperate with government, especially by reporting and giving information about criminal elements. He noted that this was key in the war on terror. And Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has announced that his administration has increased bursaries for deserving students across all wards in the capital. The county chief has also started rolling out sponsorship for needy bright students through secondary education through his government scholarship program. Speaking during a church service at Jesus Teaching Ministry, Sakaja disclosed that he had tasked his county chief officers with the distribution of bursary forms in the city. By close of business, a total of 300 forms had been distributed across Nairobi. This academic year, Governor Sakaja indicated that he will release a total of 1.025 billion shillings in both executive scholarships and ward bursaries. Each of the 85 wards will receive 6 million shillings, up from 4.5 million shillings received in 2022 in ward bursaries. Still on matters education and the selection process of recipients of the 2023 Wings to Fly scholarship is ongoing in different parts of the country. Equity Group Foundation and Equity Bank, in partnership with German Development Agency KfW, will be offering 1,000 comprehensive secondary school scholarships to bright students from financially challenged backgrounds who signed for the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations in 2022 and scored over 350 marks. The 2023 cohort will bring to 48,009 the total number of scholars who have benefited from the scholarship. And Mumias East Member of Parliament Peter Salasia has asked politicians to remove politics over the revival of Mumias Sugar Company and instead support the Sarai Company, which continues to work on reviving the sugar mill. Speaking in its constituency, Salasia said that the important thing is for politicians to encourage farmers to plant sugarcane, asking Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza to allocate money to help grow sugarcane in abundance.
Saa hiyo wakati niliingia katika bunge, waliona nilipigania mambo ya Mumias sana. Sasa hiyo Mumias inafanya kazi. Na nimesema ambula mwanasiasa ndio ruhusa ingie huko. Tumesema tuanze kupanda miwa, tumeongea na wale watu wa food commodity. Watasaidia watu wetu kupanda miwa.
Now, over 50,000 farmers in Nakuru County have registered with their assistant chiefs in the ongoing National Household Farmers Registration exercise that was launched a week ago. Nakuru County Commissioner Isaac Masinde said about 193 tablets were issued to the assistant chiefs across the 8 sub-counties in the county with the aim of registering farmers to build a credible national database of all the farmers. Masinde called on all farmers to register before January 17th, which is tomorrow, which is the deadline of registration, so as to benefit from the government services like accessing subsidized fertilizer and seeds. He reiterated that the process will discourage middlemen who purchased farm produce from the National Cereals and Produce Board in bulk only to sell to the farmers at a high price. And the national government will implement water projects to improve water supply in Kitui County in efforts to address the perennial water shortage in the county. Principal Secretary for State Department of Water and Sanitation, Dr. Kiprono Rono, said that his ministry had identified critical water projects that will be implemented across the county to improve water supply and tame the historical water shortage in the semi-arid county. The PS made the remarks while addressing the media after he paid a courtesy call on Area Governor Julius Malombe. Promised his ministry will work on increasing water supply volumes from the 2 main dams to the county, where the Kitui Masinga water supply project will be upgraded to jet in 18,000 meters cubed, while Kiambere Mwingi water supply project will be extended to provide clean water to Mwingi regions of the county. This is Newswire. Dennis Alseta, good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, so a few minutes after 8 o'clock and traffic is starting to do the thing. In the next couple of weeks, traffic will be back in full what? In full form. It's heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway. It's been that way since early morning, and we're still seeing some of it. And then on Jogo Road, heading out towards the city. Mombasa Road, you're fine all the way to the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, and then it's going to clog up a little bit. Ngong Road, also some action there. Coming out of Westlands, you're going to want to use the Red Hill Link Road as you're going out of the city and then back in. That's the only way to be able to do it. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter through the morning. Let's know what's going on where you are. We can spread the word and keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Indeed it is. 7 minutes after 8. Good morning and welcome to the third hour of The Situation Room. Happy Monday. It's the 16th day of January 2023. There are some people who are going back to work today. Can you imagine? Or tomorrow.
Meaning they haven't been to work since the year began?
Since last year.
And they're starting their work this year.
Yeah.
And they think by doing so, what, they'll shorten the month?
Yes.
Nah. Okay.
Siongee mbaya bwana. Nini bwana?
Just asking.
Nini bwana?
Maybe it's the time of the year they figure, this is the best time to take a little time off. Not too much happening. Unfortunately, that is not true. There's a great deal happening.
There's a lot happening.
Oh, yes.
Well.
Because there's this feeling that we're actually in the middle of the year almost.
Well. Let me tell you, there's a new Kenyan crime documentary series that was recently launched on DSTV and GoTV. It's hosted by John Allan Namu And you know what that means. It means you get to witness and experience firsthand the telling and retelling of pure documented facts from one of Kenya's greatest investigative journalists. It doesn't get any better than this. Watch the new episode of The Last Door every Sunday, 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus, DSTV channel 163 or GoTV channel 8. And if you pay your DSTV and GoTV subscription today, you get a free upgrade on us to watch the show live. Just dial star 423 hash. That's star 423 hash to get connected. Ndu, just remind everybody who may not be aware that you only have about 8 days and schools reopen. And that means
schools reopen on the 23rd of January, and you're asking yourself, okay, so school fees, where's it going to come from? Well, here it is. Kiwi is giving you an opportunity to step up and shine, polish those shoes, and also get an opportunity to win school fees, courtesy of Kiwi. What do you need to do? Walk into your supermarket, buy a tin of the Kiwi black shoe polish in whatever size. You will find a code under the lid once you've paid for it, of course, and then you will send that code once you dial star 459 star 5 hash, and then instantly you win bundles. You then also could win airtime, but then you get an opportunity to enter into the draw that could see you win 35,000 shillings towards school fees. It'll put a dent in your fee, and I think it's a great thing. Step up and shine with Kiwi.
it's important, man. It's very important. 35,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Na economy. Well, we have two guests in the studio. Before we welcome him, let them hear the day's proverb. CT.
Yes. The day's proverb is from the country of Mozambique.
Okay.
Msumbiji in Kiswahili. Interesting country this.
It is, huh?
Borders the Great Indian Ocean. It borders Zimbabwe. It borders South Africa. It borders Tanzania. And it borders Zambia. And as I said in the earlier hour, this also plays a very, very huge part in the languages that are spoken.
Yes.
In each of these directions, you'll find a dominant language in that country will be reminiscent of the border that they have. For instance, there's Kiswahili spoken. Yes. But it tells you it's the people in that part of the country that borders Tanzania. If it's Shona, if it's all the other languages that you may hear, the multiplicity of languages that are in that country, it's because of the border.
There are people who came from Mozambique many years ago, and they came and settled in Kenya. And for a long time, these people living in the coast of Kenya were not recognized as Kenyans until a few years ago, when President Uhuru Kenyatta signed the decree recognizing these people as Kenyans. Yes, so Kenyans have Mozambicans.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Logical conclusion, I guess.
Yeah.
Isn't it just?
It goes to say. Our guests this morning are Martin Andati, who is a political analyst, and Daniel Juma, who's a governance expert. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you hear the proverb, by the way? You didn't, because I didn't say it.
But I know it's from Mozambique.
Yes, slander by the street.
You hadn't said the
Actually, you
proverb.
didn't say the proverb.
No, I didn't.
Oh, we moved on.
I didn't. No, we did move
Sorry.
on. We're still
Okay.
moving on.
Yeah.
Yes.
The proverb.
In a westerly direction. Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Yes.
Daniel, that proverb. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
What's-
It
what's-
does. Whatever you say, someone will always hear. If you are a gossip in the village, people will always get to know.
There's always going to be somebody who hears what you say.
And will tell it the way the frogs do.
They'll be screaming all night.
Yes.
He was here.
Son said that. Yeah.
Martin, is it the same interpretation for you?
Yeah, I think so. He's close to it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about what happened. Let's do the slander. Let's talk about what happened over the weekend politically. So, from Friday and Saturday, President William Ruto was in Nyanza, specifically around the areas of Luo Nyanza. He went to Homa Bay, went to Siaya, held several meetings with leaders, several public meetings and all. And in the lead up to this, State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed had said, the president is coming to this region. He appreciates and acknowledges that we are all Kenyans. There are development projects here that he'll be coming to commission and working with the local leadership. The local leaders themselves had said the president is welcome to come And let's hear what he has to say. Now, there are those who have looked at this and wondered, is the president charming the bastion of the opposition? And what is he up to? What's the play here, Daniel?
Thank you. I think the president's visit was, of course, originally it was termed as the homecoming for Eliud Owalo, who is the CS, the only CS from Luo Nyanza and the second CS from Nyanza. But then it turned out to be actually more than the homecoming of Eliud Owalo. And this was expected because, as I have said several times, and you agree with me, is that the elections are over. And usually when elections are held, the process of electing leaders is usually competitive. But at the end of the day, whoever is elected, even if it's by just one vote, carries everything. He becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya. He becomes the president of even those who opposed him. He is the president of even those who did not elect him. This is something that I think many people have not understood, especially in our politics. Especially we have those politicians who think that if you didn't vote for me, or you voted wrongly, then you will not get development in your place. So I think the president is doing what constitutionally Kenyans expect him to do. If you read the Bible, there were times even when Jesus used to say that he came even for those who don't believe. He came actually for the prostitutes and those who,
He came to seek and save that which was lost.
Yes. So ideally, politically speaking, a president should focus on those who did not actually vote for him. Actually, if I were the president, the first thing I would do is to do a real charm offensive. Those people didn't vote for me, and seek to understand why didn't you vote for me. And I really loved it when he was talking about. He was saying that they voted for him like a yayo, like a rat. Originally, the other MP said we gave you votes like a poyo. So ideally,
what are those two words, or what do they mean? What's a poyo?
So a poyo is a rabbit. It's a small, he received small votes compared to what Baba Raila Odinga received in that region. So he took it really, and that is Ruto for you. Ruto, he was enjoying the moment, and to him, it was not a really big deal, but he understood. And also, you must understand something about Ruto. Ruto was actually in ODM for a long time. Ruto, if you look at the
formation of
even the 2007, 2008 presidential elections, he is the one who fought for Raila Odinga at KCC, fought for his votes. And if you look at all that, the people in Nyanza, actually, Ugenya, where I come from, remember that moment where Ruto actually fought for Raila Odinga. And they thought Raila Odinga would have awarded Ruto at that moment. But unfortunately, Ruto decided to. Raila Odinga gave Musalia Mudavadi, Deputy Prime Minister, and left Ruto aside. So he has really a big following who remember him nostalgically as someone who fought for Raila Odinga. So he was at his home. You could see he was even speaking the Luo very, very fluently. You listen to all that. So for me, I think he did marvelously. And whether you call it charm offensive or not, he did what everybody expects him to do. And all those goodies, even the ones that President Kenyatta initiated with Raila Odinga during the handshake, I think the people of Nyanza deserve those things. And I think it was a great moment.
So you're just saying whatever was happening was what ought to be happening anyway.
It should that's what should happen. Yes.
Martin, do you agree? I mean, what was happening is the president is doing what a president should do anyway. I mean, there's nothing big to read out of this.
You can't say he's doing what the president is supposed to do. We've had presidents before who have sidelined, especially Luo Nyanza. Kenyatta won. After the fallout with Jaramogi, he never went back to Luo Nyanza. Moi, to some extent, also sidelined Luo Nyanza. And Uhuru initially before the handshake. So, when you look at Ruto, he's a very shrewd politician. And he's trying to consolidate his votes. You remember, this is not the first time he's been to Luo Nyanza. He was there earlier, and Gladys Wanga took off. She claimed she was doing some function in Mombasa. But this time, I think the owner of the region Raila Amolo Odinga had given them the go-ahead. So you saw the mobilization. The crowd stand out massively, and the reception was very warm. They even gave him the Gor Mahia hat. So you know that has a lot of significance. So that shows that they are more or less accepting him. And you know, even if Raila would want to run in 2027, he's getting tired. So that block, if he were to run or not to run, that block is very critical. And I think that is what President Ruto is looking at. So he's trying to make peace with the blocks where he never got serious support. You've seen him in the Luhya Western Bloc. He was there also about a month or so ago, and he promised quite a lot. He met the leaders, and he has reached out to the likes of Court Secretary General Francis Atwoli. He has reached out to quite a number of the people who didn't support him. Those have been traditional Raila Odinga leaning blocks. So he is trying to get those blocks to reach out to them to see if they can ultimately support him in future. He wants to consolidate what he already has, and then reach out to more blocks so that it helps him get more support. And you know, the easier route to reach out is you say you are doing development,
right?
Because that way you don't raise a lot of eyebrows. So he goes with a bag of goodies. You remember he launched the housing project in Homa Bay. He promised they are going to do the water, address the water issue in Homa Bay town. He also did launch the research hub in Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. He also did quite a lot in Siaya. So those promises are, and the governors want what to ride on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are we saying essentially that, from what we're saying, President Ruto is looking towards the future as opposed to wanting to have a working nation, a collective working nation today with all parts of the country unified as one? Or that what he's doing is so that in the future he can have a vote, as opposed to saying, well, with what we have now, how about we make this Kenya work?
He is using what, his office has, the presidency, even with the 2010 constitution, the president is still very strong. Because we still have almost 70-80% of the money controlled from the treasury. Even the counties, they are not generating enough of their own money. So they are beholden to the national leadership. And governors have realized that if you try to be hostile to the national government, then they sabotage. You know, there have been cases where governors have complained that some counties are receiving money in time. The others which are not receiving their money in time. So if you don't receive your money in time, it means you cannot be able to pay your suppliers. It means you cannot pay your contractors. So it will be very difficult for you to achieve some of the projects you are supposed to achieve. Then two, the allocation of resources is done in Parliament. But the executive has a very big say because they are the ones who prepare the budget, then they take it to Parliament. So currently, UDA and its allies have a majority in the National Assembly. So they have a very big say in how the money is allocated to the regions. So if you come out like you are being very hostile to the national government, then they can decide that they deny you some of those projects.
But I'm saying, is it not possible to imagine, is it too far-fetched an idea to imagine that the president actually wants to work with a unified Kenya today, not 2027, today,
he is reaching out.
Going on?
He is reaching out, but he has, at the back of his mind, Ruto is a politician. There are already arrangements about how he is going to run the election of 2027. He does not want, he is saying, siasa imekwisha. But you can see, Ruto, the politician, is still out there. When he talks about a yeyo, a poy, and all that, it is politics. So he promises, he is giving out the goodies, but at the same time using that to create a rapport with the people so that when he comes to seek the vote, there will be no hostility.
I have a problem. And it's a big one. When I have eminent gentlemen like the two guests we have, referring to fundamental rights of the citizens as goodies, these are not gifts.
Supposed to happen.
That's what the government is supposed to do. If they weren't doing it in the past, it was wrong. So when someone comes and tells you that they're fulfilling the mandate of ensuring that development projects that have been budgeted for and which are in our budget will actually get done. That's what they're supposed to do. It's not something to be jubilant over.
I agree.
In an ideal situation.
Not ideal.
Are we in an ideal situation?
No. The reason why we have a constitution that it's an aspirational document, we should be heading in that direction. And if we insist on referring to these things as goodies, we haven't moved. We are still at that stage where the Mheshimiwa is supposed to bring roads. They're supposed to bring schools. They're supposed to bring everything. And I'm saying no. Absolutely no. It's not a favor that people are being done. It's what they should do.
Yes, but going with the history of the country, with what previous presidents have done, like Martin is saying, what previous presidents have done and what this president is doing, what do you read out of it? Do you read the president actualizing the constitution with no strings attached, with no underhand, with nothing up his sleeve?
What you're asking me that question?
Yes.
What I am seeing is the difference and the fundamental difference that President William Ruto is showing. He's coming out openly to manifest a handshake process. But it is not new. In this country, at the dawn of independence, Kanu, handshake. We've been having handshakes throughout our history. And we thank God for it, because most of the conversations are behind the scenes. We then see people working together quietly. But that handshake legacy that we have has been our saving grace in many, many instances, because Kenyans, the politicians, have this ability to disagree seriously, but they also have the ability to sit back and say, can we have a chat and see how we can sort this thing out? Now, the president, maybe he had those chats behind the scenes, but he's coming out openly and saying, okay, folks, you know something? Why don't we just put this thing right out in the open? And so that you can see that what will lead to the handshake, I'm doing it. I'm not talking about it and then telling you we have a handshake. I'm in the process of doing it. But it has ramifications.
I think there's a thin line. If you between development, you say he's doing what he's supposed to do, and that's what I said earlier on. And already campaigning, doing his politics for 2027. So there's a thin line. As president, you may never know at what point he's doing development and at what point he's campaigning. But I still reiterate that, and I agree with the Muga, that it's a no-brainer. This is what the president needs to be doing. And also the Constitution expects the president to be a symbol of national unity. And he's doing that, bringing the nation together. And for me, I think it is just, it is good that he's demonstrating to the people. And one of the things that I also like is that he is reaching out to the people directly. You may call it a handshake process or not, but what President Ruto has always said earlier on, even during his campaign, he said there will be no handshake this time. And I agree with him. That
and what do you call what we saw over the weekend?
It doesn't have to be a handshake. You understand? The thing is,
brother.
This it is a handshake in all but name.
Okay. A handshake has to be Ruto's hand on one side, whose hand on the other side.
But the people, I think the people, it's a handshake with the people. And
Not
you see, he was saying that the people who never voted for him, and I think this is a masterstroke on his part. He's reaching out to the people directly. And one thing you must have realized with the people of Nyanza,
you think he has
I come from Nyanza.
Do you think he has sidestepped Raila in this?
Yes. Okay. I don't know whether they spoke or not.
Do you think?
But what I know, what I think is that President Ruto wants to reach out to the people directly. He's the president of the people. And what he has done is very, very clever in one way, because at some point, and you see earlier on when he was in Homa Bay, like Handati said, Governor Wanga, was not there.
Yeah.
But this time, Governor Wanga and most of these politicians in Nyanza have realized that the people of Nyanza are changing. The people of Nyanza want development. The people of Nyanza are tired of being marginalized as a result of politics, and elections are over. So what he has done is reach out to the people directly. And now this time round, the politicians had no choice but to join in. And I think it is a good idea that Raila Odinga and his team
I
had
think there is
decided
something
to actually
you must
do that.
missing.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, you remember there is a group of politicians who mostly lost elections, Kidero and others, who have been hitting at Raila. Obado, that group. And they have been all over the place selling Ruto in quotes.
Yes.
Did you see them being given any prominence?
No.
They were nowhere.
They were sidelined.
Including even your MP, my friend, Dave Ochie.
Yes, they were sidelined.
They were all sidelined.
Yes.
So that speaks volumes. Two, immediately after, as the what Muga is calling the handshake move was going on, you've noticed they are now saying the leader of official opposition will even be allowed to address the state. They will enjoy immunity, you know. So you know, you don't need to be told for you to see, because who is supposed to be the leader of opposition here? You know, they are making that office, making it very lucrative, such that now the things Raila was raising, because Raila was saying he does not want a shell. And initially he was even opposed to that idea. Now he has started softening. So you see, you sidelined the people who have been hitting at Raila. You now work with the elected leaders. And you see, Gladys Wanga is a non-Raila diehard. And there is no way she will do the kind of mobilization. There is no way she will receive Raila the way... Why didn't she receive Ruto the way she has received him this time? It speaks volumes. You know, Raila didn't need to talk to Ruto direct. But, you know, if there is quiet rapprochement and there are moves, and you remember Raila met the leader of the High Commissioner Marriott, British High Commission the other day. So all these are moves. You
and
can.
Then she met with the DP.
Yeah, and then she met with the DP from there. So you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that there is some rapprochement going on. You know, you see. So it's quiet. You know, it's worked out. You get Atwoli moving there. A few days later, Ruto is going to Luo Nyanza. The reception, you even saw Buru. Buru was there.
Yeah.
Very active
at Jaramogi.
Yeah, at Jaramogi, at the university, but he didn't go to Wallace, I think, because of their own personal issues. But you can see the rapprochement. And you see, Owalo didn't even take center stage here. Orengo took center stage, you know. So that speaks volumes, you know. Yeah, that is very interesting because initially it has been Owalo running all over Luo Nyanza, giving out relief food.
Yes.
And purportedly selling Ruto. But you see now, Owalo has been told to take a back seat. You have the elected leaders now taking a front seat and issuing very strong statements which look like they have fully accepted the Ruto presidency.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. It's 8:30. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. When we come back, I want to know what you think Raila's hand is in all this, whether he has a hand in it or not. This is the Situation Room. Our guest this morning, Martin Andati, a political analyst, and Daniel Juma, who is a governance expert. We are talking about Ruto's recent charm offensive into Western Kenya and Luo Nyanza. Is it going to pay off? Is it already paying off? That's the discussion. Time for that break. It's a Minute Maid break. Ndu, tell them about the Minute Maid break.
When you need a moment in that day, it's been, back and forth, up and down, and you need a minute where you can just get refreshed. Minute Maid in all these fantastic flavors. Delightful tropical, apple, orange. We'll give you the minute to take that much needed refreshing break.
Indeed. Have you subscribed to Showmax yet? You should, because you get to watch all the best content, including Showmax Originals from the region. Showmax Originals from Kenya, Showmax Originals from,
Nigeria.
Africa, from Nigeria as well. Good content. Okay. You get to see all that on Showmax. Get yourself Showmax. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459 *5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon. Sleepwalking through the afternoon.
Don't live life on repeat. Enjoy your break moments with Minute Maid Delight, a treat that awakens your senses and fills you with vitality. So fill those break moments with the indulgent sensations of Minute Maid, featuring delicious mango, tropical and apple flavors. Minute Maid, filled with life.
So we're looking at some conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 26 and highs of 28 in Nakuru. Today, 26 will be the high in a sunny Nyeri, and we'll see highs of 24 in a sunny Eldoret at 15. Sun is up in Mombasa at 28, highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 32 as well in a sunny Malindi at 27. It's 21 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 30 in a sunny Kakamega at 22. It's mostly sunny at 20 in Kampala, highs of 29 and lows of 17, while cloudy conditions through Dar es Salaam at 28 with highs of 31 and lows of 27. It's 18 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 34 in a clear Lagos at 25. We'll see highs of 30 in a mostly cloudy Kinshasa at 25.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Traffic continues, and we're still looking at heavy traffic coming off the Thika Superhighway. It's going to continue for some time from what we see. It's a busy Monday morning. We're also looking at traffic still on Jogo Road, Gong Road also joining, as well as coming off then Gitanga going out towards Lavington. That's going to continue for some time this morning as well. We're in the middle of traffic hour, probably be there for another hour or so. And Mombasa Road wasn't too bad this morning. There's an unfortunate accident that has taken place on the Thika Superhighway just around the GSU headquarters. It's a gruesome one, and it's involving two buses and quite some traffic. So there's mad traffic because of that. Unfortunately, yet another accident has taken place on Waiyaki Way and slowing things down. That was already crazy. Folks are waiting for an ambulance there. So if you're heading in that direction, please be careful. And also, you want to think about using an alternate route. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter and keep things moving as much as we can.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The Situation Room, Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, C.T. Muga, and our guests Martin Andati and Daniel Juma. You want to know that this country, Kenyans, always, you can never satisfy everybody. Alex Mbogo says, all we know is that Ruto comes to church in Mount Kenya and serious business is taken to Nyanza and the coast. When it comes to Mount Kenya, church. The rest is opening, I don't know what.
Let me say something, Eric. For a long time, during the Kibaki regime, during the Uhuru regime, we have had a few Luos who benefited from government. They used to call themselves Luos in government. That they would go to State House and endear themselves to the president and say, we are with you. Raila is opposing you there. We are the only ones standing with you. So we had people who benefited. People like Tuju, people like Onyango Lo, all these people. Even when appointments were being given to Luos, they were going to this few cliques. So I'm happy that President Ruto is actually finishing this. You know, we no longer we don't need Luos in government. And actually, I don't agree with this clique of Luos who have been going around abusing Raila Odinga. We don't agree with them. You don't abuse Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is respected in Luo Nyanza. So the best thing is give him his respect, but do your politics. So
have they been abusing Raila? Have they been differing with Raila?
Okay, they have been differing, but
and you don't differ with Raila.
Then in a way that that you don't do. You know, we Luos have a way, we respect our elders. And even though we disagree with him, I agree. In 2019, I disagree with Raila politically when I ran for Member of Parliament to Kenya. When he would not do a nomination ODM. I took a small party and ran. I said, Mzee, I respect you with your party. I don't. I mean, you have a right.
You are abusing Raila.
No, I was not. But I said, let me take my small party.
Abusing Raila.
I took a small party and ran with it.
How dare
Uganda.
Did you meet Uhuru?
No, I didn't meet Uhuru. But I did.
Did you go to State House?
No, I didn't.
That's the only thing.
So what we are saying is that the Luos are not in opposition. People who did not vote for the president are not in opposition. And I like when the president said that the people who are in opposition are actually the opposition leader, those who ran for election and lost. The people did not lose elections. The people took part in the process constitutionally. So the people of Nyanza and those who didn't vote for President Ruto should not have the mindset that they're in opposition. No, they're not in the opposition. Those who are in opposition are those who are elected, and those who did not win. And I'm happy that we are now having the talks about the official opposition office in Parliament, so that the people in opposition can have a structured way of doing their politics.
Daniel, you're a very, very, very diplomatic person.
Yes.
For the longest time, from the time Jaramogi Oginga Odinga differed with Jomo Kenyatta, the Luos have been in the opposition. It's not a complicated issue. And the Luyas have also joined. That region was essentially an opposition zone by and large.
That was
Every time it changed, Jaramogi was given a breather, Raila joined, Kanu, briefly, okay? But that was an opposition zone. It's just a simple fact.
That was the mindset of the people, the leaders at that time, who thought that the fact that the opposition leader comes from that area, then this place is opposition.
But Daniel, remember also, at the same time as I'm saying this, you have said it yourself, there were people from that very region who are in government.
Yeah, I remember ministers like Matthew Zogutu.
You see the discussion. Yes. You see the discussion we're having here at this particular point is the issue of political leaderships, and it must be had. Who decides? Is it the president or the people? Because there are people whom the presidents chose, brought into government, and yet there are people who were not chosen, and yet they held sway. When they spoke, the people listened, the people followed. Now, that leadership ceases when I think the people get tired and they decide perhaps we don't want this person anymore. But so long as people seem to decide that is their leader, it doesn't matter who is made minister, who is appointed where. The people will still follow the individual they have chosen to follow.
Perhaps this question can give some direction in all of this, as those who might be listening and ask themselves, okay, so the question is, why does all this matter? Why does it matter?
Because the president is still powerful. You know, the 2010 constitution was supposed to take some of the powers away from the presidency. But by and large, we've not done much. Because even with the devolution, the governors are powerful, but as I said before, they still, they still
only
have
control a combined 350 billion
yes,
shillings of a 3 trillion
350
budget.
out of 3, which is 10%. So the powers are still held by the presidency, and the presidency is still controlling the resources. And you see what he was saying. We are in. If we had if the constitution was fully functional the way it's supposed to work, then the presidency will not be running around dishing goodies. But that is not what is happening. Two, there is also confusion that we are creating. What we picked is a pure presidential system, which is American. There is no opposition in America. It is either the minority or the majority. So why are we now creating this thing we are calling lead of opposition?
But you people,
because the mistake we did.
Just because Americans don't call that person opposition doesn't mean that we all don't know that these are the opposition.
Yeah, but you see, what we can do is, if we want to amend the constitution, why don't we allow the guys who run for president to also run for MP or for Senate? So that if Raila had lost the elections the way he has lost, he will still be a member of parliament and he will be leading his troops in parliament. Because that is what happens in America.
So you're advocating for a parliamentary system now?
No, it's not parliamentary.
Or a hybrid?
You have, you see what they are trying to create back is, to create now is a mongrel. You have now the leader of official opposition who does not sit in parliament. You create that office and give it a lot of powers. so that, you are now creating an office purposely to entice Raila so that he is not out there in the streets, because he's very disruptive. Ruto knows, Raila can keep Ruto busy for the next 5 years until he will not achieve anything. So to get him away from the streets, you structure him and give him an office where at least you can manage him. Now if he has a structured office, he has staff, he has his deputies, he has a shadow cabinet, which is paid for by the taxpayer, and he's allowed to address parliament. He's even allowed to address the states. He will not now go out there and cause mandamano and tear gas mandate. So you have him managed. It is easier that way than having him going to Kibera and calling the troops to go and paralyze the businesses in town every Monday.
So in all this, do you see a possibility that President Ruto has had a conversation with Raila Odinga?
He might not have had a direct conversation, but there is a very big possibility that the British High Commissioner is mediating something. So the British and Americans have a lot of interests here, and you can see the Chinese suddenly have disappeared. Even when you move around, you don't see many of them around.
I saw Martin.
They are not taking center stage the way they had taken in the Uhuru regime. You can see the
expressway is
never did you see the Chinese ambassador doing any political.
They were not doing politics, but they were influencing a lot of stuff quietly.
But I noted the Foreign Affairs Minister of China was in Africa.
Yep.
He visited 4 countries, including Ethiopia, but never came to Kenya. So that was telling for me. That was quite telling. But coming back to that issue, I am one person who thinks these people talk. Raila Odinga, William Ruto, these guys are friends. They talk.
And they all live in Karen.
They talk.
well, now Ruto lives in Caledonia.
But he has a home in Karen.
So I think they talk. And also you have to see people like Sudi. Sudi is very, very close to Raila Odinga. And rumor has it, he visits there a lot. And he was also he was being introduced in Homa Bay, where Kaijuang was saying this guy is a good person, he has a good heart. Sometimes he gets crazy, the mouth gets crazy sometimes, but he's a very good person. So there's a lot of that connection. I think these people do talk. It is just us, the masses, who believe that they don't talk. But I think they have a back channel where they communicate. Right now, I think they are looking for a space-saving way of bringing those structures in play. Like this talk of the official leader of opposition, Mugabe want to call it the handshake. But as you know, President Ruto had said there's not going to be any handshake.
You call it a carrot?
You can call it whatever you want to call it. But one thing you have to agree, and something I agreed, and one of the reasons that why I thought BBI, some aspects of BBI was very, very critical, was because if someone gets, like when Ruto won by 7 million, Raila was 6.9, almost a difference of 200,000 votes. Someone has made such an effort. You don't just throw him and tell him to go and cook mandazi in Bondo. And yet, he has these masses of people who still believe in him. So there needs to be a face-saving way of keeping him busy. So I agree. Whoever is coming up with that bill in Parliament.
Is it face-saving or is it...
okay.
Acknowledgement of...
yes, whatever you call it.
Of the political reality.
This is the political reality. We need to treat our political leaders, especially someone on the caliber of Raila Odinga, who ran and actually almost, made it. Give him some dignity. Give him some dignity. Give him some structured way of managing his people, managing his politics, so that he's not out there in the streets.
I have to ask you.
Yes.
You seem to be suggesting that he doesn't have a structured way of managing his people, managing his politics. And that's what he seems to have been doing for the last God knows how many decades.
I know, but politics is about allocation of resources and values. Resources is key. Even though he's out there, he needs to be, facilitated by the taxpayer to do his politics. So how do you do this? I think the only meaningful way is through the leader of the official leader of the opposition. And I agree. I don't agree that we need to copy everything the way it is in America. I think we can come up with our own hybrid system where we have the presidential system, but we also have a way of giving these people, something to keep themselves busy.
What is the good of the country in all of this? Because, we talk about individuals and their satisfaction, what they've contributed to the politics of the country. If we look at just this conversation that we're having about what happened in Luo Nyanza and what the trajectory of then the country's politics will look like in the next, few months, years, how do the people of Kenya benefit from this? How does the development of the country then take center stage? Because that is what government is supposed to do. We can talk about the politics, etc., but those then who, through a political process, are put in government are essentially supposed to then perpetuate the development of the country. There's nothing else. That's what is supposed to happen. How do the people of the country benefit now from these conversations that we're having? Of what merit, of what benefit then is it?
The president has said he needs an opposition, a constructive opposition that will keep his government in check. Having an opposition leader or opposition, body of politics that actually keeps these people to do what they promise that they're going to do is of benefit, direct benefit to the people. So for me, I think this is very, very critical.
The people who are, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The people who are sitting today, and I'm going to, because it's a pain point,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The people who are hungry today, the people who are sitting and crossing their fingers that the 23rd of January would come maybe 6 months further because they don't know how they're going to send their children to school. The people who go to a medical facility today and say, look, I don't have enough or my cover has run out, whatever. The people who are making a living from agriculture and then cannot buy farm inputs because they're too expensive. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the people who are waiting to be placated for whose rump they try to go and embrace during a political process. I'm talking about the people of the country of Kenya who have rights that need to be fulfilled by a sitting government.
Absolutely. The opposition, the people who have been elected, have a right to raise these issues. For example, look at the issue of GMO, for example. We need to have a structured voice. There are people who have opposed GMO, and now government is saying GMO is good. But we need to hear the voice of the opposition.
You speak as if there's no structured way. There's a minority. A recognized minority in the House.
There is, but if you look at that parliament...
Are you saying that those who have been elected by the people and they only found themselves in the minority in parliament don't have enough clout?
Actually, the way our parliament is structured is that the legislature is supposed to check the executive.
Yes.
There is clear separation of powers. But that is clearly not happening because if you go to the parliament, it is about the majority, the tyranny of numbers, where the president will have his way in parliament. This is because he has the numbers. Even if it's an issue that is genuinely an issue that really needs to be looked at.
How different would it be?
There is
today you have Opio Wandai, who's the leader of minority, and he's got his leaders. He has got deputy minority leader, he's got chief whips and all those. How different would it be if on the issue of GMO, for example, a voice of the minority being heard than when you have somebody else who is not even sitting in parliament, who's called leader of opposition, speaking from out there? Does it add any voice? Does it add any value? Is it any different from Raila Odinga calling a press conference and standing there alongside Martha Karua and saying we oppose GMO, and then Opio and I saying the same?
It doesn't guarantee, but unfortunately in this country, there's that perception that if Raila speaks, for example, on an issue, then it may be taken seriously.
But remember,
unfortunately,
the proposed structure sits outside Parliament.
Yes,
sits under the executive whose budget is controlled by
Parliament.
President.
The president.
So if this office of official opposition is created but not properly resourced, what impact is it going to have?
But let me ask the question. Do you feel that Raila Odinga needs that structure in order to be an effective leader of the opposition?
No, he doesn't. Because Raila has played opposition politics effectively even when he's out there. So you don't need to give him a title for him to do what he's doing. And In fact, to me, he is more effective when he is out there than when you put him in a box. He is able to get funding. You know, as things are currently, Raila enjoys a pension. Even Musalia, he has been enjoying a pension. I think they'll only stop now that he's in government. He's in government, but they all enjoy, even Kalonzo. So they are given vehicles, they are given pension, they have security, they have all those things paid for by the taxpayer. So they are not that
they're not badly off.
They are not badly off, you know. So they are out there. They are still able to remain afloat and be able to get things done. The only issue now, what we need to be addressing, is what Madam is raising here. There are people who look at. You remember the case of the late Kasavuli. She ran out of cover, and nobody was able to address those issues until when she died. We don't have a functional healthcare system. The other day, you guys were airing the story of Mukami Kimathi. It took the intervention of the DP for the bills to be settled. Now, you know, those are just a few cases. We have thousands and thousands of people out there who have no Medicare. You fall sick, you are on your own. We have the issues that she's talking about, fees. You know, generally, even people who are in business will tell you there is no money out there. Because you see, the money for Pesa was being paid 4 months, they have not paid. They paid last week on Monday. There are many other things which have not been happening. So generally, the Mwananchi is suffering, you know. Even businesses are struggling. Companies are paying half pay. You know?
If at all.
If at all. We have even serious institutions like yours that have been retrenching. All the media houses are retrenching, you know, because they can't sustain the numbers. And even when they retain people, they are paying them half pay. You saw Egerton has collapsed. You know, they are indebted to the tune of 9 billion. But you see, nobody is having a serious conversation.
So
around
who
those
speaks
issues.
for the people then, Martin?
That is where now we are having a problem, because we don't have a structured way of engaging on the serious issues.
But we have a structured way. We have a parliament.
We have a
go
parliament.
To the vote, they elect somebody to represent them. A member of parliament.
We have a parliament, but you know, the MPs have not shifted. The mindset has not shifted. They are still in the old thinking that you are supposed to bring roads, what Muga was talking about. The MP thinks his work is to go and get roads from Nairobi. The MP thinks they don't want...
Is it the MP who thinks, or is it the
because that is what the Mwananchi
CDF.
has also made them to think that is what they're supposed to do. And you see, when we got the 2010 Constitution, we wanted to have a paradigm shift, to move away from that, so that you have the legislature doing their work properly. You have the executive on its own doing its own work. You have the judiciary doing its own work independently. So that we have all these institutions functioning, then we will have a very good country. But you see, that is not happening the way it's supposed to be. There are even regulations which our parliament is supposed to have passed to fully operationalize the 2010 Constitution. Up to now, some of those regulations have never been passed.
As long as you have members of parliament still agitating emotionally for CDF, there's nothing good that will come out of that house, you know. And for me, I agree with the judiciary. I agree with those who have agitated that CDF is an executive issue, needs to be left as such. And I'm hoping that we don't go there, so that these people in parliament focus on these issues that Dewey is talking about.
Daniel, you're a politician.
Absolutely.
You've engaged with the people.
Yes.
Asking their votes.
Yes.
All right? Do you think your people agree with you?
The people
that CDF should now be removed. We should only expect development from the national government and from the county. The MP should go to Nairobi.
That will be a discussion. That is a long discussion. If you go there, it's going to be a very tough discussion. But there's nothing wrong with giving CDF, for example, to the counties.
What?
I mean, I mean, I'm looking at even cascading it down
to the MCA now,
to the equivalent of an MCA.
There's no equivalent. There's only MCA.
There's only MCA.
So that it reaches more
equivalent is the person who lost the election.
No.
For the MCA, that's the equivalent. But
or get someone, and for example, someone in charge of bursaries in the constituencies, and give that money so that they're handling that money directly. But the members of parliament, and I can see somewhere here, they need to focus on legislation, on oversight, on asking these difficult questions.
Our next guest, our next guest has been a constituency MP.
Yes.
And is now a nominated MP.
Yes.
Nominated means CDF, not there. We'll ask him what he thinks about this.
But also, CDF has done very well. If you look at what the project CDF has done in the constituencies, even
is it value for money?
Yes, serious value for money.
Shilling for shilling.
They could have eaten maybe 20%. They could have eaten 20-30%. But the truth is, the projects which charge the people have been done by CDF.
Okay.
You can't compare it to what the MCAs are given. You can't compare it to what the governors are given.
Martin,
the governors have overemployed people. The governors have engaged in a lot of wastage.
We'll invite you again for continuation of this conversation. Martin and Dati and Daniel Juma have been our guests this morning. We will invite them again to continue the conversation. Governance in this country. In the next hour, we have the nominated MP, John Badi, chairman of ODM, and also the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly, to come and tell us. Now, he'll be speaking from the horse's mouth, from somebody who a bit knows what was happening with the president's visit to the Nyanza region. Keep it here for more conversations. Remember, The Last Door on Maisha Magic by John Alan Namu is a thing to watch every Sunday, 8 p.m. It's now 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswam, Dennis Aseto. Pupils who sat the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education exams will know which secondary schools they will be joining from today. The Ministry of Education is set to release the Form 1 placement as well as the results of the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KIPSA. Over 1.2 million pupils who sat their KCPE exams in 2022 will be placed in 112 national, 776 extra county, 1,301 county, 6,297 sub-county schools. Others will join 1,301 private secondary schools. According to the ministry's formula, 10 top-performing students from each of the county's 290 sub-counties will get admission to the national schools of their choice, bringing to 2,900 the number of students who will get the schools they wanted. It adds that the placement will also be based on merit, equity, and with affirmative action considered, especially for national schools and choice. However, some education stakeholders have faulted the computerized placement, saying it disadvantages some pupils. And the Ministry of Health is keeping close surveillance in Garissa, Wajir and Tana River counties following the recent increase in cases of cholera. The three counties are among 14 counties that have been seriously affected by the disease since October last year, when the first case was reported. The cases in Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Nakuru and Uasin Gishu have gone down, but the ministry is warning Kenyans against laxity even as they try to stop the spread of this acute diarrheal disease. 3 months after the first case of cholera, more than 3,000 people have been affected in 14 counties. The spread has been attributed to the movement and sharing of meals during the festive season. And a family in Dia, Kirinyaga County is in agony after their 18-year-old son drowned in River Sagana. The family has for the last 2 weeks embarked on a search mission in the swollen river located at Kianjege village along the Kirinyaga-Nyeri border. Mark Anthony Karuri's mother, Virginia Mudhoni, has appealed for support from the government to help retrieve her son's body. A team of divers drawn from Sagana is helping in the search operation. Locals have called on the Kirinyaga County government and the military to join in the search. And police in Kuria West have arrested one suspect and seized 178 kilograms of bang with a street value of 2.355 million shillings. Kuria West Sub-County Police Commander Clete Kimayo said the bang was seized in 2 different homesteads during a crackdown conducted by the police who were acting on a tip-off. Kimayo said police officers conducted a crackdown in Bimaiti village in Ngochoni sub-location where they managed to recover bang with a street value of 855,000 shillings. He said the police managed to arrest Thomas Nsoto as the main suspect, and he is currently in police custody waiting to be arraigned in court. The sub-county police commander said the police did a similar crackdown in Nyangiti village where they managed to seize 5 sacks of bang weighing 150 kilos and a street value of 1.5 million shillings at the homestead of Gibebe Jackson. And State Department for Industrialization Principal Secretary Juma Mohwana made a visit to Rivertex East Africa Limited Textile Manufacturing Company in Eldoret town, where he applauded the factory's management for bringing it back to life. Unveiling plans scheduled under the new regime, he emphasized that the move will go a long way in supporting the government's Agenda Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative aimed at bolstering the manufacturing sector and creating more job opportunities. The PS said the plan is part of the campaign to promote local production and the plans of reviving the collapsed companies like Kenneth Raymond's and Farmer's Choice is ongoing as they had collapsed due to liberalization and bad policies. Internationally, and Nepal is observing a day of mourning today for the victims of the nation's deadliest aviation disaster in 3 decades, with 67 people confirmed killed in the plane crash. The Yeti Airlines ATR 72 plummeted into a steep gorge, smashed into pieces and burst into flames with 72 people on board as it approached the central city of Pokhara. Soldiers used ropes and stretchers to retrieve bodies from the 300-meter deep ravine late into the night, with the recovery efforts still continuing today. There was no word on the fate of the 5 people still unaccounted for. Debris from the twin-engine turboprop airliner was strewn across the crash site, including the mangled remains of its wings and passenger seats. Rescue workers were rushed there after the crash and tried to put out the raging fires that were sending thick black smoke into the sky. Our thoughts and prayers to the family of those who lost their lives there. My name is Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so still looking at traffic in the city. That accident that happened on Waiaki Way is quite something this morning, and it's holding up traffic quite significantly on Waiaki Way. If you're headed to or from this area, please watch out, folks, because it looks pretty messy. Also coming off the Thika Superhighway, traffic still continues. That accident also that happened there just around that GSU headquarters still causing some traffic coming into the city. Those are the 2 trouble spots for now. Let's keep an eye on things. Other than that, it seems to be flowing smoothly in most parts of the city. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us there.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the
7 after 9.
Situation
Good morning
Room.
and welcome
The
to the final
only
hour of the Situation Room today, 16th of January 2023. Happy Monday, wherever you are locked in from. It's a 16th. Schools open on the 23rd.
Yes, they do. And I know everybody's looking for school fees right now. Well, step up and shine with Kiwi. There's an option for you. Walk into any of your supermarkets today, buy a tin of the Kiwi black shoe polish, either in the 100 grams, rather the 80 grams or 40 grams. And there's a code on that yellow sticker. *459 *5#, and you're going to send the code under the lid to this number as you dial. Instant airtime and bundles. Also a chance for you to enter into the draw that could see you walk away with 35,000 shillings in school fees. You have till now, until the 7th of February, to enter into that draw. See what pops?
Right, step up and shine. Showmax is the one platform that gives you access to the best content from across the globe, and especially African content, with all those series that are produced courtesy of Showmax. And then they are all available on Showmax. You go on there and find binge watch any African content that you want. Very, very good shows. They're actually winning awards. If you look at the last Kalasha Awards, shows like Kina and others are winning awards. Jimmy Gathu, who is a lead actor in Kina, had been nominated for Best Lead Actor. Sanaipe Tande, who's a lead actress in Kina, was nominated and won the Best Lead Actress. Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress also came from that show. All you can watch it on Showmax. Showmax.com. Go there and get details of how you can subscribe. We have a guest in the studio, like we said in the previous hour, the Honorable John Barry, the MP, nominated MP, Chairman of ODM and Chair of the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee, is with us in the studio. He will shortly hear the day's proverb. City?
Yes, our proverb is from the country of Mozambique.
Uh-huh.
Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Slander by the stream will be heard by the frogs.
Yes.
Okay. What do you call frog in Luo?
Ogwal.
Ogwal. Mm-hmm.
Don't.
No, there's no don't. There's no don't.
Don't even.
Washimo Badi, when you hear that proverb, what's the interpretation of it?
No, that's tough. That's not for accountants. Yeah, but I think it all talks about people who understand an environment, people who live in an area, in that particular area. Mm-hmm. So you understand your environment better.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would interpret it.
That's a very interesting interpretation.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yes.
Good way of looking at it. People who understand the environment are the best too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those who live in a particular area understand that area more than any other person.
More than anybody else.
Yes.
So even any visitor ought to understand that it's best for me to talk to the resident. Particularly the native of the area.
Yes.
So when President William Ruto had a visit
I expected that. Yes.
to Luo Nyanza over the weekend,
Yeah.
we saw the leaders from the area this time round, Banan, all welcoming him and saying he's welcome. It's good as long as he's the president. He's welcome to come here and we'll engage with him. That appears to have been like, sort of a change of heart from leaders from the region.
A change of heart from where? First, let me say Happy New Year.
Heart.
Let me say Happy New Year to all our viewers and listeners across the country, because it's the first time I'm here this year.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't think there's any change of heart. I think this is the first time that Ruto is making official visit to Nyanza as the president. And as the president of the country, he made he invited leaders from that region that he was visiting. I was invited to the meeting in Homa Bay, or the functions in Homa Bay. We held preparatory meetings here in Nairobi together with the PS Interior. I led the MPs. He asked me to invite the MPs from Homa Bay, which I did. And we met with him. We were to meet with the president here in Nairobi, but we politely requested him that we meet in Homa Bay, and that was granted. We asked for 1 hour, we were given 2 hours, and the meeting was largely on the development of the area. We presented a memorandum through our governor, and I think the same was replicated in other counties. So I don't see any change of heart. I think Luo, those who understand Luo culture, Luo is really rich in, I'm not very good in English, but I think they are called folklores. There are so many stories of a visitor who comes and is not welcomed and goes or disappears with the goodies or the blessings
The
that
story of Simbi
Simbi Nyaima, Nyamgondo Gudombare. We have so many of that, and that was to teach us that when a visitor is coming, please welcome the visitor, because you may chase blessings, you may chase goodies, you may end up regretting. So that is exactly what we did. And I think it is also, maybe we'll come to that, it's also a sign of political maturity in this country. I think for the first time in the history of this country, a president who has been elected has visited an area where I got the least votes officially. Of course, there are cases where President Uhuru came after 2013 for the burial of Osiany, the late NAT Secretary General. He came to Kisumu. But official visits in matters development, for the first time, I think, President Ruto has scored. That is visiting Nyanza at this time and talking development. To me, it is encouraging. Yeah.
This is all this talk that's floating around about, well, it's an opportunity for the president to endear himself to the region and then hand out goodies. I would want to, and I would be encouraged to say that it's an opportunity for him to unify the nation, really. Where do you see this? Give goodies so that it would give him some kind of political expediency, or actually that he is working to see a unified Kenya move forward?
Well, President Ruto is a politician, so you can't rule out any politics in whatever he does, because, again, we get into these selective positions through the political route, via election, so to speak.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked if Ruto has a political agenda, being a political animal. But I would also want to say that what unifying the country is not starting now. I think President Uhuru did the right thing of embracing Raila Odinga immediately after 2017 election, and Raila Odinga did the right thing of shaking hands of Uhuru Kenyatta and moving the country forward. We made a very big leap in terms of unifying the country by bringing together two antagonistic communities which were looking at each other like enemies. That is the Kikuyu and the Luo community. And so that was the right step. Now, here is William Ruto, who has come in largely by votes from the Rift Valley, and more particularly the Kalenjin votes, and the larger portion of the Kikuyu votes or Mount Kenya votes, and did not get much votes. In fact, like Homa Bay County got just about 3,400 votes in the whole county.
I hear you.
And so he is now coming to Nyanza and telling Nyanza that that was politics of 2022. It's past. Let's move forward. All of us are taxpayers. We are all Kenyans. And also the Luo leadership saying, yes, we may have a problem with the outcome of that election. We are not saying that we are agreeing totally with the decision that was made by IBC and the Supreme Court, but we have one president up to 2027, God willing. I mean, if he will be alive up to 2027, our president is William Ruto. And the people who control the public purse is executive of this country. And so we have all to work together, not working together as in joining the government, but working together as Kenyans for the sake of development of the entire country.
Do you think this move, the overtures from the president to your region, do you think that have an impact on how you relate to the government? Giving an example of the handshake between President Uhuru and Raila, and then how you interact with the government. In the 12th Parliament, for example, in terms of raising points of concern, raising areas that you felt that the government was going astray, people felt that the opposition or the minority side was muted in its oversight role. Do you think these kind of overtures are going to have the same kind of impact?
I think, to be honest, I want to say that if the president or the government did not extend this olive branch to our region, probably it would have had adversarial effect. That our relationship would have been, we would have felt excluded. What now we are waiting for is for this to be followed by action. That now the promises that were given, if we see the implementation of the same, then we will be encouraged that we are not excluded, that there is inclusivity, and that is what we have been calling for as a ODM and as an opposition outfit. We have been calling for inclusivity. If you look at the BBI, the main reason why we started this process of BBI or the initiative of BBI was inclusivity. We felt that there is government, or there is a tendency of those who come to power to practice exclusive leadership. So now that will affect how we view the government. But in terms of the functioning of government, holding it holding it accountable, that will still remain. We are in the opposition. We are not joining the government. We, as a Azimio, we are the opposition, and we will play our oversight role as opposition. That does not mean our areas should be denied development from the national government simply because we have that role of opposition. It is a constitution that has given us the role of opposition and has given Kenya Kwanza the role of running the government. We must respect those provisions of the constitution and abide with them, but again, make sure that as a country we move together.
What about those who obviously are part of you, but then maybe just a few short weeks ago, months ago, did not recognize the presidency of Dr. William Ruto? What would you say to them at this juncture now?
I really don't know who are these who still don't recognize Ruto as the president, because you see, our leader is Raila Odinga. Is the one who led the Azimio into election. Raila Odinga has come out a number of times to say we don't agree with both IBC, through Chebukati. We don't also agree with the decision of the Supreme Court. But as a country, we must move forward. Ruto is the president. I don't think Raila Odinga has denied that Ruto is our president.
Okay.
He has categorically said that Ruto is the president, but we have issues with the electoral process. Now, if there is anyone still in Azimio who does not treat or recognize Ruto as a president, I think that is taking us back. Let us move forward. Let us accept that election of 2022 will not be repeated. We will go to the next election in 2027. Before we reach that stage, Kenya must move on. We must develop this country. We must improve the living standard of our people. And as members of the opposition, the best we can do to this country is to offer oversight to this government. They promised to lower the cost of living. They promised a lot of things to do. They categorized Kenyans, they called Kenyans hustlers. We want to see how the life and the lives of hustlers are changed through government policies, which we must interrogate.
Having said all of that, do you then, even as you said, not part of government, fulfilling roles as the opposition, I know then that the role of the opposition essentially is to oversight at some level government and to really poke and say, look, this is not going right. You must do things in this manner. We are watching to make sure that you do it right. Do you believe that the Kenya Kwanza government, the government of President William Ruto, can and will actually do the things it says it will do and the things you hope will be done as well? Properly. Not just by lip service, but actually done.
I have my fears. But I'm well aware that 5 months is not such a long time. But it is sufficient time to make some positive movements or positive steps towards realizing or achieving the promises you make during election. I have my fears because especially the biggest concern that Kenyans have at the moment is the cost of living. I don't think Kenyans are so stressed with infrastructure. At least we have seen some good progress in infrastructural development, especially during President Kibaki and Uhuru's time. Now, Kenyans have serious concern in terms of cost of living. I don't see Kenya Kwanza having concrete policies or steps to help improve or alleviate this problem. I see the target is basically to put money in production and agriculture production through fertilizer subsidy and such like. But that is being too hopeful about the weather. That our weather will be friendly because Kenya is rain-fed agriculture, so that weather will be friendly. Remember when these fertilizers were first given was around September. So we should be now harvesting the maize. No one has communicated to Kenyans to tell us how much we are likely to harvest and how that will impact on the cost of living. So in terms of cost of living, I don't see Kenya Kwanza getting it right. And even in terms of removing subsidy on fuel and categorizing fuel as consumption, I think that was wrong. Fuel is the most important and significant input in any productive activity, and so should have been treated as a cost of production. Look at the promise we were given on reduction of debt level, or rather to manage the debt level. I don't see any concrete steps being taken towards achieving that, because we are not seeing a treasury that is communicating cheaper loans, that they have got access to cheaper loans, that they are retiring the old expensive loans, because the problem we have at the moment is that the old expensive loans, which were taken between 2014 and 2016, the syndicated loan, the Eurobond, which were taken at 8% per annum, very obscene rates, those loans needs to be retired now. That step is not... I'm not seeing any serious attempts to address that. So generally, looking at Kenya Kwanza, I think we need to sit down. Look at the parliament. We were promised that there would be a cut of 300 billion. What I hear is happening is they have gone to, for example, the Ministry of Roads, and out of the development budget of about 54 billion, they have taken away 30 billion. So this cut is targeting development. Again, when you target development and reduce money going to development, you are reducing economic growth of the country, because economic growth can only be achieved through putting money in development activities. There is no much space in recurrent to really cut, to realize serious cut. Again, is the government really serious? Even the president himself acknowledged that his government is not serious, because when he arrived at in Mount Kenya, is it called Mount Kenya Safari Club? Fairmont. When he arrived there, all his ministers had a retinue of idlers accompanying them. So we need to show.
Did he acknowledge that his government was not serious? Did he speak those words?
Yeah, that was quoted largely, that he actually reprimanded his team and asked them why you need to come all with PA, security. You need to only come with one person. It was even reported that he ordered that those people, that the minister should take, should pay for the expenses of those people. To me, that clearly shows the president that he needs to communicate to his government properly, so that this thing is internalized. It may be above there talking about austerity measures, and it's just a lone voice in the wilderness.
But you see, now that's where the minority comes in. Yes, you have the opportunity to raise the voice, even if you don't have the numbers to actually push and actualize these things. Raise the voice and even try and win the numbers from the majority, who will say the same thing with you. We don't hear it.
No. I don't think you don't hear it. Maybe you're not listening to it. I have. I will tell you that we have started. Well, there are challenges in Parliament. You know, the voice of the opposition would be heard more loudly in Parliament. There are some challenges in Parliament. I don't want to go into the details, otherwise it may be misinterpreted. But some of us have also talked about certain things that are not going right, and we will continue to talk. Remember when the Hustler Fund policy document was brought to Bunge, many of us said it's not the right thing, and I still believe to date that what we did was very wrong. We created a fund through a policy document, not even a statutory document, a fund that does not even have clear provisions on who is managing it. You have put it in the department, the ministry. A fund should have managers. Any fund in the world, even in your house, if you create a fund, please make sure you appoint manager, even if you're appointing your wife or daughter or son. But there must be management of a fund. So there are things we have talked about and we'll continue to talk about. The issue of subsidy, we have challenged that the president rushed too fast. I don't think there is any economy in the world where there are no subsidies. Even in the US, which we think is one of the we call it perfect economy. It's not a perfect economy, but it's better. A liberalized economy. But they still do specific things. In fact, there is a lot of subsidy in America than probably any other economy. It is done in a different style by giving people direct financial support, but it is still subsidy.
Food stamps.
Food stamps and all that. In Kenya, you come and you say you can't give subsidy, yet the largest part of our population is living from hand. In fact, they are not even living from hand to mouth. There is nothing to eat. Many people are only having 1 meal per day, and
If
many
that.
don't even have. So anyway, in short, I just want to say, we are going to the new year. The opposition will be heard more. I chair a Public Accounts Committee in Parliament. We are going to start our work proper from 6th of February. I know we are still going to start with Uhuru's accounting officers. We are not very far off.
How many
there are
years
2
back?
years. 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021. I guarantee you by the end of this year, we will be up to date. By 2024 early, we will be on Ruto's accounting officers. That you can take to the bank. And I can come back here and confirm that is the case. So we will hold them to
By
account.
2024,
and we
you'll
will
be looking at this.
Yes,
at
and
least
my
auditor
focus
report
will
for
not
this year.
just be on historical accounts. That is now my forte. I will be looking at value for money. So we will be asking the Auditor General to continuously audit certain programs of government and report to us, and we'll look into that. We will be looking at performance audit. We will do a lot of special audits. We will even do some forensic audits on government programs. So you will see a more vibrant opposition. You'll see a more vibrant Public Accounts Committee, because I know what I'm doing.
It's 9:30. Let's take that break. The Honorable John Badi is the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly. He is the chairman of the largest party in the minority in the National Assembly, the ODM. He is also a nominated member of
The
Parliament.
longest surviving serious party.
Plus what he has said.
Yes.
It's time for us to offer him some Minute Maid. Time for a break, the Minute Maid break. This is it, Mheshimiwa. You see that one? It's apple. This one is orange. Is it?
It is actually tropical.
Tropical.
Yeah, that one
This is mango.
Nutritious nectar, mango.
You leave that to the ladies. Men, we don't even know colors, so don't.
We're talking about the flavor, Mheshimiwa.
That is the
It's the flavor, and we know men do flavor, but that's a different conversation.
Men no flavors. Minute Maid is a flavorful way to find time for yourself throughout the day. Personally, you enjoy that time when you take a break to reflect, when you're busy in the PSC, when you're busy in Parliament, when you're busy in all other duties that you're doing in the day. Take a break, get some flavor from Minute Maid. That's what it's meant to be.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly after this break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Behind every crime and murder, there's a reason and a motive. Some dark, some simple, and some unbelievably terrifying. But truth is, no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. Well, until now. I, John Allen Namu, will be opening the last door to reveal the truth behind the nation's most infamous criminal happenings in a new true crime documentary called The Last Door on Maisha Magic Plus DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 8. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. as we look into the heart of crime and sieve rumor from truth. Dial star 423# to get or stay connected to DSTV or GoTV.
It's time to step up and shine. Get instant airtime or data with every purchase of specifically marked tin of black kiwi polish. What do you need to do? Walk to your nearest store, buy a tin of kiwi black shoe polish, and once opened, find a unique code under the lid. Dial *459 *5# and send the code to stand a chance to win 35,000 Kenya shilling school fees every week, courtesy of Kiwi. Step up and shine with Kiwi. Terms and conditions apply.
21 degrees and sunny conditions in Nairobi. It's right. 18 is sunny in Nakuru, highs of 28, and 26 will be the high in Nyeri, where it's sunny at 16. 16 and sunny in Eldoret, highs of 24, and it's sunny at 29 in Mombasa, highs of 32 today. We'll also see highs of 32 in Malindi. It's 24 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 28, and highs of 30 in a sunny Kakamega at 24. Looking out into Kampala, it's sunny at 23 and cloudy in Dar es Salaam at 29. It's 20 and sunny in Johannesburg, going to highs of 29 today, and we'll see highs of 34 in Lagos. There's now a haze over the city. It's mostly cloudy at 25 in Kinshasa, highs of 30, and looking at 1 degree in Beijing. Going into Monday evening, we'll see highs of 2 and lows of -9. It's a windy morning with rain in Paris at 7, highs of just that, and lows of 2. It's also raining with some snow and ice in London, highs of 5 and lows of -3. It's bang on 0 in New York. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 9 and lows of 0.
Yolanda Mulwa, DJ Absolute. When the gang is together,
Got the sugar, got the spice. Yorada.
Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Yeah?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys get more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on.
Yeah. All right, still looking at traffic in certain parts of the city. It's dying down in most parts, but we're just looking at those two issues of Waiyaki Way and the Thika Superhighway, where there was some terrible accidents this morning. Waiting for those to be sorted out. They should be in a bit, but there's still traffic on some of those roads, and hopefully we'll see those cleared up in a short while. Other than that, it's flowing smoothly and should continue in most parts. SpiceFM KE on Twitter through the morning. Top to us there. Keep things moving this Monday.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Right. The renowned investigative journalist. He's been working on a series of investigative stories looking into those serious crimes that have taken place in the country. Well, sometimes we know the answers, some we don't know the answers. For example, last night it was about River Yala.
Yeah.
What's the title of the show again?
The River of Skulls.
The River of Skulls. So looking into what happened, talking to the people who were involved. He was talking to the person who dives into the river to retrieve the bodies.
To retrieve the bodies, and some horrible stuff, of course, that he has had to see. And just the whole idea of having to tell people that your loved one has been found on the water, and then starting to do the investigation behind what could have led to this. And then also even more, devastating that people are looking for their loved ones and they've not been found yet.
So speaking to family members, speaking to investigators, lawyers, people who are involved at any point in some of these series. So he has also looked at Tekra Muigai's murder, what happened to death, what happened to Tekra Muigai, how did she die, Naneu Mudhoni, Benson and Emmanuel Ndwiga, the lawyer Willie Kimani and all. It is airing on Maisha Magic Plus every Sunday at 8 p.m. on DSTV. It's a good one to watch.
Yeah.
We'll remind you. Sunday, talk to me a message.
I will watch it.
Book it to watch it.
Yeah.
So let's talk now back to what we were discussing. Looking at what's been happening recently in Kenyan politics. With this visit by the president to Luo Nyanza, which is considered the bastion of the opposition currently, many of the members from the region are in the minority side of parliament. Was the leader of Azimio involved in this? Did he speak to you? Did he tell you, all right, yes, I know, buddy, you've been called by the PS for Interior. You've got all rights to go ahead with these meetings?
I I don't know at what point he got to know, but personally I shared with him that we have an invitation to receive the president in Homa Bay. And, he's my boss in the party. He's my party leader. I'm the party chairman. So I shared with him. And, of course, there was no debate whether we should go or not. He is very clear in his mind that if the president is coming to visit us on matters development, we should show courtesy of receiving him, talking to him, and presenting our views, because we are elected leaders at the moment. So he has no problem. He knows that this is politics. This is development. Politics is coming later. And politics will be played differently. But I want to also mention that the president also, I think, did the right thing of inviting elected leaders. In the meeting we held in Homa Bay, I think some of the political noisemakers, I would call them, wanted to get crushed. And I think the government machinery told them, no, this is not for you.
Who are these noisemakers?
There are some of us who, for now, they are not in elective offices. They may get to those offices in future, or they were there before. We are also there for now. Tomorrow we may not be there. But you see, some of them would think they can undermine the current elected leaders. Some of them jumped to the Ruto train after he had won, or the Kenya Kwanza train after they had won, they had been pronounced the winners. They were not even there before, by the way. Let me be very clear. Most of these guys, whom I call noisemakers, were actually with us towards the last election. But because now power is the other side, they moved, and they have been saying a lot of unprintable things about our party leader, whom they were actually just the other day glorifying. So I am happy that...
so those were not invited into the meeting?
No. It was strictly elected leaders. I would say, I would tell you the meeting we held in
You're
Nairobi.
not elected. You're not an elected leader.
Yeah, because you don't understand the meaning of election. Sorry to say.
Explain to us, please.
Election in Kenya is first past the post that it's also proportional representation in a way. There is party nomination. So the moment, if ODM didn't have enough numbers in parliament, I would not be a member of parliament.
Right.
So I'm elected, and I am elected after contributing towards the success of my party.
Of the party.
Yes.
And the party getting many...
Yes, it's only that I didn't run for any political office.
So now, just because of that, you actually can stand and disparage the others who fought just as hard as you, but they lost.
I did not fight and lose. You need to understand that. First, I did not run for any political office this election. And I'm not disparaging anyone. I'm saying they have been saying a lot of things that I think should not be said about any elder, leave alone a party leader like Raila Odinga. So some of them, I have no problem with their political stand. We make political choices. We are a democratic society, but you must be civilized. Personally, by the way, I'm a very strong member of ODM. Everybody knows it. I have been very vocal in talking matters ODM and attacking the other side of the political divide. But you will never find me going personal.
Never personal.
I have never gone personal against Uhuru Kenyatta. I have never been personal against William Ruto. We must talk about policies. Even here, I have not said anything personal about William Ruto. I've just said that we have a problem with the way they are approaching the cost of living. That is what we should talk about. I have a problem with the way they are approaching the debt level and how to manage it. That is what we need to talk about. Someone who stands to speak against Raila Odinga should just attack the policies of Raila Odinga. I have no problem with that. But when you get to some personal things, and then you try to mislead the public, thinking the public is full of idiots. Well, Kenyans are not idiots, by the way. Even those who have not gone to school are very clever. When you start telling the people of Nyanza, those who know the history of Nyanza, that Raila Odinga has brought underdevelopment in Nyanza. That is far from the truth. The people of Nyanza know that there is no development in Nyanza. which doesn't have Raila's signature or footprint. So you are saying something that people know. Obviously, you are looking for job. Most of these people are not discussing the agenda of our people. They are looking for appointment, which is okay. But look for appointment with civility.
But it's not okay, if you ask me, that people who are going into positions that should actually, and I said this in the last hour, going into a position that should actually safeguard the livelihoods of Kenyans. But you're going into that selfishly. For me, there's everything wrong with that. It may be the accepted norm. It may be the accepted MO, but does not make it right. That if you're going into a position that is going to govern over the resources of a country that should essentially safeguard the livelihoods of Kenyans, that it should not be a selfish move, but that it should be, and then that's unfortunate that we don't see many more examples of selfless leadership, or that we don't see more examples of people going into a position selflessly to be able to say, what can I do? Yes, you can benefit from it. You can benefit from it, but if your sole purpose is to see what you can get for Ndu or John, there's a problem. And I have a problem with that.
I agree with you. Many of us, and sometimes we camouflage and we try to clothe our selfish interests to, quote unquote, community interests. They are not even talking about Kenyans, by the way. Most of these leaders, when they stand to speak, they don't talk about Kenya. They talk about our community. But if you interrogate what he's saying, and you try to analyze, you find that person is just talking about himself or herself, for that matter. So I think, but Kenyans are not foolish. That's one thing that I must say. Kenyans are not foolish, and they are able to determine, to separate the wheat from the chaff. They will know that this person has worked for us. They will know this person means well for us. So whatever they say, it will not be just taken at face value. It must be analyzed and interrogated and subjected to proper scrutiny. And so I want to just...
I'm just stuck on this point.
Yes.
You were among those who were organizing, like the itinerary of the president when it comes to visit the people that he's going to meet. So you are among the people who organized this meeting that was taking place in Homa Bay. And the leaders who are going to be present for the meeting and those who are going to not be present for the meeting. But you also started by saying it was a very good thing that the president is actually doing. He is showing political maturity and introducing politics of inclusivity. And yet you are championing exclusivity.
No. I'm not doing that. Actually, by the way, I want to correct. I did not arrange who to attend and who not to attend. By the way, I was invited to organize our members of parliament for a meeting in the president's office, but in the office of the PS Interior, who is an officer in the office of the president.
Yes.
And so when we met, we talked about the development agenda of the region. We agreed to have a meeting with the president as elected leaders of the region and present a memorandum. That is the reason why these people are elected. They are elected to represent, to provide the link between the national government and the locals and the voters. And so it is their duty to present a memorandum to the president. So we had a meeting, and that meeting, right from the governor, the senator, the woman rep, out of the 8 members of parliament elected, 6 were present. 2 who were not present, including the area MP, were out of the country. They could not make it back in time. I was also present as a nominated MP, as a chairman of the largest party in that region. There was also the nominated senator. Our county is lucky. We have 2 nominated MPs, senator and a member of National Assembly. We were also having the speaker of the county assembly and the majority leader and the whip. That's it. And we had the president with his team. We discussed development. Then we went and met the rest of the team, where all these people were present now. No one chased them away. So it's only that they didn't know the forum where they should have been present. This other forum was for elected leaders. So the other forum was for every leader now invited, and even the public was present. But what I was saying is we can work together, and we will work together, but we need to respect each other. I don't think even you'd be very comfortable working with a neighbor who insults you or abuses you from morning to evening. And even us, if we were abusing and insulting the president,
he wouldn't come.
I don't think he would have called for a meeting between the two. Or at least if he called for the meeting, we would have first discussed our differences before we went into now discussing the development. But because we have made the environment friendly by not being antagonistic, so to speak, or being petty, I think it was very easy for us to have a meeting with the president. I'm sure you saw how we were very happy, exchanging pleasantries. We were smiling all over the place because we have not been personal with each other. I would tell you, even if the president was too personal against our party leader, probably even the meeting would have been very difficult to have. Yeah. So I'm calling for maturity, civility in the way we conduct.
That's what we saw over the weekend.
Mheshimiwa, you started earlier on by saying that there are certain ways in which the Luo people, the Luo nation, receive visitors. There's a certain way in which they accommodate visitors. Now, that is easy to understand, because if we look at the activities of the weekend, then you could say that that is well demonstrated. My concern isn't that. My concern is something that my colleague Ndu raised in the previous hour about how all these things will translate into activities and processes that will actually change the lives of the people of that region. How this will reduce the poverty levels, how this will harness the resources that are abundantly available, and how it will be possible for people to actually envision and experience change. Right now, Lake Victoria is drowning in filth, in poison. Just for example, many things going wrong. Fish cage farmers suffering immensely. It's a natural resource. The water itself, without even the fish, is a natural resource. How will you as a party ensure that this memorandum that you gave the president and the things that you'd like to see done be actually realized, that the lives of the people in that region whom you represent will actually change visibly into the future?
Yeah, that now calls for leadership. You see, if we just sit back that the president came to Homa Bay and he has made promises, then those will be done, then we will be cheating ourselves. Now the leaders, actually we have been given a very good forum. When the government has extended olive branch to you, has extended a hand to you, it is your duty to grab it. So now our leaders who are elected, and that is why now it was good to meet elected leaders. The leaders who are elected now, what stops us from visiting government ministries now to discuss the specifics with those ministries? There's nothing that is stopping us. I will tell you, even the last regime, some of the projects that have been implemented, we did a follow-up. Some we did a follow-up were not implemented. Some have been implemented. A lot of the programs that the president was talking about were actually started in the previous regime. But I'm happy that the president has committed to completing them. And the president has even committed to initiating some which had not been initiated but were promised in the previous regime. Like the case of the pier, the 3 piers, which is going to help the transport in the lake. The Kindu Bay, Homa Bay, Mbita, and there's another one at Asembo Bay. Now, all these have even been tendered. The evaluation is going on. The tender evaluation. So it's just about to be awarded. They're just about to be awarded, costing about 600 million. The president has committed to doing that. It is now the duty of our leaders, I am one of them, to follow through and make sure that even as we put the budget, those which have not been put in the budget process is ongoing. Are they included? Because there is no miracle. If money is not put in the budget, there is no way the projects will be implemented. If there is no money for this year, then in the budget for a specific project, would it be put in the next financial year, 2024, 2025? Because 2023, 2024 is ongoing. In fact, the budget policy document is coming to Parliament this month, in the month of February latest. So what I'm saying is now we have an opportunity as leaders from that region. I'm happy that all which has happened have happened. Now it has provided platform. Even those of our MPs who didn't know they could go to government ministries easily and get audience, or even seek audience with State House. Now they know that it is possible. So it is now our duty. You are elected to represent your people. Make sure that whatever is promised to your people is done. If it is not going to be done, we will again report back to our people that the president actually did not tell us the truth. But I'm happy that the president is even talking about coming back to that place or that region, our county, before the end of the year. That is a sign of commitment, that he wants to see these things actualized. You know, if you go to visit someone and you tell that person that I will bring you this kind of thing, if you again give a date when you will come back, then that's a very good sign that you're likely to come back with whatever you promised. So I am sure that, but as I conclude, if you allow me, we must also be alive to the fact that there is no money in this country. In fact, when I was in the meeting with my colleagues, I kept on reminding them that as we are putting a big wish list to the president, we should remind ourselves we are part of this country. We cannot run away from it. This country, Kenya, is a country that is facing serious financial crisis. So I would push more of ongoing projects, especially the projects which would have changed the economy of our region, like what you have talked about. The fishing industry should be our main target. And so that is one. Of course, there is no development, meaningful development that can be realized without infrastructure. Roads. There are some roads that are ongoing, including the constituency I've represented for 15 years. There's a road that is ongoing. We want that road completed.
That road is not completed yet.
It's not, and it is not likely to be completed soon because the way the money is being given to contractor, there's a challenge.
So from your constituency up to Sori, that road is still...
No, from this side of Sori is a bit better because that is where they have started from, but it's still not done. The contractor is on site, challenges of money. So those are some of the things that we discussed with the president, that we need that road completed. We need the road of Kanyadiang going round Huma Hills to Kadel done. But there is another road from Adiedo to Namba Karabok, which is cutting across Karachuonyo cutting across Karachuonyo and Kasipul constituency.
The only road
that has already been tendered.
That's as far as they know.
Now I know Namba Karabok.
Now we know that.
No, but we will make sure we organize some a tour of that region.
You shouldn't say
it's a very
that you won't
Mheshimiwa, we'll hold you accountable.
No, that's why I've said we should. It's not Mheshimiwa doing.
It's inclusive.
We should.
It's inclusive. You know, as I hear you say this, and it makes a lot of sense. So let's finish the projects that were ongoing.
Yes.
But maybe that's part of the problem, that those projects are just too many. Do we actually have the money to complete all these projects? How do you prioritize the ones to be finished?
So the best way to deal with the too many ongoing projects is to stop new projects and complete the ongoing projects. Because once you have put money in a project, for example, you've put 10 billion in a project. You know, projects are investments.
Yeah.
I don't know who would start an investment. You want to do a shop. You have done the building, but before you do the finishing for the building, so that you start the shop, then you start another one, or you start a Juakali shade, then you start another one. Then they will not pay back for the cost of investment already put. They become white elephants. So what I am saying,
even without going to start another one, we had already started 7 different shops. Ongoing.
Yes.
And we were having problems completing them because already there were too many.
So then now we need to come up with priority lists based on the economic value and systematically complete them over the period, because a government is an ongoing is a going concern. So what we need to do is to take stock of all the ongoing projects across the country. And I want to repeat, across the country. I am not an advocate of just looking specifically at certain regions of the country. Because you see, the money we have invested, even in a road, whether it is Mau Mau Road, that money is our taxes. Yeah. That money, if it is a loan, we all pay it. Yeah. So we want that Mau Mau Road to be of economic value to this country, to help us pay the debt. In fact, that may help us in future now to implement even projects in our areas which could have not been implemented. We are running a government for generations. We are not just running government for ourselves. Even if I don't benefit, but my grandchild will now find a properly functioning economy. That is what we need.
Mheshimiwa, having said that, and given the committee that you head, looking at the reports of the Auditor General, creating new ways of looking into some of these matters that involve the running of the county as well as the national government and the money spent. What exactly will your committee do to ensure that the people who are found culpable of misusing government resources, because part of the problem we're talking about is the resources given, but they don't do what they're supposed to. The resources go anywhere but where they're supposed to go. You talk about incomplete projects. Not that the money was not given. When it is budgeted for, it's considered. You are an accountant. Somewhere along the line, the money doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
True.
County governments are notorious for this. What will your committee do?
Well, county government is the preserve of the Senate. I hope my colleagues in the Senate will do something. But a lot of money is also lost in the national government.
Yes, it is.
And
the bulk of the money is actually
lost in the national government. We actually budget for corruption. That is a fact. Because some people just look at where they, before even money is put in the budget, already a contractor is figured out there. And we have heard of many of those cases. You heard of the case of SGR, how wheeler dealers were already cutting deals. And when Jubilee came to power, new wheeler dealers had to come in. The others had to be edged out. And now they became enemies of the government. And such stories are alive. And they are correct. It's not that they are just hearsays. Now, for my committee, I will tell you, we are having a meeting from 23rd and to 25th with various government agencies which help us in fighting corruption. That is ESCC, DCI, DPP will have control of budget and the Auditor General. Now, I see a disconnect between the Auditor General does her work, presents the report, audit report to Parliament with indicting provisions in it. Parliament does their work, call the accounting officers. They fail to account. That is written. The report is taken to Parliament, adopted. No one looks at it. The ESCC does not look at it. DCI does not look at it. In fact, ESCC go for cases which sometimes some of them are just, let me call it, someone just reports a case because he doesn't like another one. That gets attention. Yet the formal reports of Parliament
are not taken.
Where accounting officer has first, this accounting officer appeared before the Auditor General, failed to satisfy the Auditor General. He has appeared before the Parliament. He has failed to convince Parliament. The Committee of Parliament. The plenary of Parliament is not convinced. That is a report that should be used by the ESCC.
By the ESCC to start.
It's clear evidence. But then...
Imagine our time has run out.
I wanted to just conclude, if you allow me, 30 seconds.
In 10 seconds.
In 10 seconds. Yeah, but then you... so I wanted to invite these people to tell us if there is a problem with our reports as Parliament. Can they use it?
Yes. After your meeting on the 23rd and 25th, let's invite you. So you tell us what you've discussed in early February.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa John,
I'll come back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Alseto. Form 1 students are set to know the schools they will attend today in an event to be presided over by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. The 1,233,852 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education students who sat for the examination last year are expected to be placed in various schools. According to the Minister of Education, a computer-generated placement system that is based on performance, choice and capacity of a particular institution was used for the placement. Affirmative action, especially in national schools, is also applied